Aloha everyone, and welcome to day 2 of the Origin ECN Vertical Blue Freediving Competition, live from here at Dean's Blue Hole in the Bahamas. We have another beautiful day here in the Bahamas, water temps in the low 80s, air temps in the high 80s. Platform team is getting ready for our athletes to compete today. We have a fantastic list of athletes. William Trubridge starting the list with an 89-meter no fins dive. I'm going to be your host for today's competition. In fact, for all the rest of the 9 days of competition. And I have Jessie Lou here in the booth with me today, not only to talk about her performance from yesterday, but also to give a little bit of animation to the commentation and help you guys see things from an athlete's perspective. As always, we'd like to thank our sponsors, Origin ECN, Trading Capital, Sunto Dive, Paralens Action Cameras, and IDA International, the sanctioning body of freediving. Jessie, what do you think about today's diving?
A lot of exciting performances that are coming. Yeah, we have 3 national record attempts.
Yeah, 3 national records. Yesterday we had 11 national record attempts. We had your world record attempt, which was pretty spectacular to watch. Very, very dramatic performance, something that we'll definitely talk about in a little bit. Will Trubridge leading off the action. Some would consider maybe one of the greatest freedivers of all time, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So really awesome. Gonna get to see Will start off the action today here in the Bahamas on his own turf. I would say 89 meters, constant, no fins. That's sort of kind of a warm-up dive for Will, yeah?
He's done this dive many times. I'm sure that he's very confident.
Absolutely. And then so for you, kind of taking the opposite strategy.
I have been training this year, and yesterday, it was a really enriched experience for me, I would say, because I didn't take the result too seriously. I was in training leading up to the competition. I see the possibility. I have made the dive before, and I got stressed in the training, but when the competition comes up, I actually wanted to use freediving as a learning experience, as I always felt it's my school. And what I really wanted to do was to see how I manage the stress. And that was my goal for yesterday, and I think I was able to do that yesterday. So regardless of the outcome, and I think I did what I came out for, so I was really happy in that perspective.
Yeah, so I mean, I was really impressed personally in the fact that a lot of these athletes, Will included for today's first performance, coming out vertical blue, which is the world's premier freediving competition, and coming out with, generally conservative performances. And if you weren't watching the broadcast yesterday, Jessie attempted a world record performance in the female discipline of free immersion, which is pulling down the rope hand over hand. And this is a discipline that really stresses the athlete's breath hold capacity. And so Jessie Lou came up a little bit short. We'll see a replay from that pretty shortly here, and maybe she can walk us through the dive. It was a spectacular performance to watch, and a lot of courage by the Chinese athlete to be able to attempt that on day 1. Definitely everyone here giving her a lot of credit for that. It was awesome to see.
Yeah, I got so many messages from friends, people all over the world.
Yeah.
And I just felt so heartwarming, and I wanted to say thank you, all of you, for sending me those encouraging messages, and it means a lot to me, and I will continue to train, and hopefully next time I will have a better result for you.
For sure. And since we're on the subject, just a couple of things I want to ask you about the blackout that happened yesterday and the dive that you had, if you don't mind.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so a lot of freediving fans at home, I know my family included, a lot of friends in Hawaii that were watching the program, really seemed to be sort of kind of like worst case scenario, in that you lost consciousness underwater, you were brought up by the safety team, put on the platform, and then it seemed as though you were quickly resuscitated, and then everything was fine. But very, very dramatic to watch in person. And so just a little bit of kind of the athlete's perspective of what happens, because I think a lot of people at home are under the assumption that this sport is extremely dangerous. And I think the reality of it is, and I think we'll hear from you in a minute, that this is a sport that's definitely no more dangerous than any other sort of extreme sport. Probably a lot less dangerous in a lot of ways than like skiing and skateboarding and snowboarding and a lot of sports that we see in the X Games and stuff like that. So to hear your perspective on what happened yesterday, I think would be super cool for all the fans at home.
Okay, yes. So you're right. Freediving is a form of extreme sport. In my opinion, it's in the form of challenging our not physical but also emotional capacities. And for me, it was first time I had a blackout underwater, and it was a honestly say from the internal experience, it was emotionally very very terrifying, very terrifying, and I feel really safe here competing. We have an awesome safety team. We have medicals right by us, and I felt really well taken care of. And I think that's also the charm of freediving. So we know we can feel safe, we can push our boundaries, and we can challenge ourselves, knowing that we will be fine. And that's just the beauty of the sport. And emotionally, I think it was one of those experiences where I feel that it's what I needed and what I needed to grow. And same way when I went to Antarctica freedive, when I faced extreme cold, to face that fear, I felt it was also an experience I needed to grow.
Yeah.
So I think it's the same thing. Yesterday I just faced a different challenge. I faced the stress, and it was also something I acknowledged before I made the announcement for the dive. I just really wanted to give me a chance to see what I can do with that amount of stress and see what the outcome. Kind of just experimenting that with the imperfect conditions, and as I was trained as a scientist, so it's kind of what I enjoy doing. And
Yeah.
I'm just so thankful for everybody here who helped me, and thank you for all of you for watching my dive and cheering for me. But also, I would like to thank my sponsor, if that's okay.
Yeah, for sure, absolutely. I know that it takes a lot of effort to get to these freediving competitions. And some of these athletes, like Jessie, are fortunate to have some sponsors. And yeah, she'd like to give a shout out now to the people that have been helping her along the way.
Yes, so thank you so much, Harbor House Life. And
what do they do, Jessie?
Best Dive.
Yeah.
So Harbor House Life is in China, and they are actually promoting extreme sports
Okay,
in
awesome.
social media form, and all kinds of outdoor sports activity, healthier lifestyle.
Yeah.
I actually went to Antarctic freediving with them.
Really?
It was awesome.
So that's something definitely later on we'd love to pick your brain about is freediving in Antarctica, ladies and gentlemen, under the ice. Can you imagine that? Breath hold diving in Antarctica. So Jessie Lou has some experience with that. I think Harbor House Life helped facilitate that trip.
Yes, they put on a lot of unique expeditions, and just different ways of expanding your life, an expensive experience.
Yeah, and so they're really supportive of freediving, yeah?
They are, yeah. They
That's
are very
awesome.
supportive of me this year, so I'm really grateful for that. And also, I'd like to thank all of my friends at China and all speaking Chinese. So 悬普自由潜水学院的所有的导师们和学员们，谢谢你们今年对我的支持。然后你们会和我一起在每一次下潜的过程中。
Awesome. I didn't catch any of that, but I'm sure it was good stuff. And then, so one question too: what is Best Dive? What are they all about?
Yes, Best Dive. They make all of my competition suits, wetsuits.
Okay, so they're a wetsuit company.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, cool. So Harbor House Life, Best Dive wetsuits, check them out. They're obviously making some great products and doing some great things for the sport of freediving. Supporting Jessie Lou, allowing her to attempt these world records. It's really great when these companies can get behind these amazing athletes and give us a chance to help the sport really grow in a lot of ways. And so, yeah, spectacular. One thing that Jessie highlighted on, and is really something that I find fascinating, is one thing I learned as a kid is that it's really not the easy moments in life that you grow from. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
It's always the challenges and the obstacles. And so freediving is a sport that definitely is always presenting challenges and obstacles. Yeah,
It is.
and I think that's kind of what you're referring to when you're talking about like giving you an avenue for growth.
Totally, it had taught me so many lessons.
Yeah.
I overcome a few of my personal issues in life where I felt fear, scared, and I feel I'm more free than ever to make decisions and to go out there and pursue what my true self desires.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, I think a lot of people that are involved with the sport of freediving feel that way. I know that Will Trubridge, the next athlete on the line, one of the world's top divers, the founder of Vertical Blue, really the mastermind of this competition, one of the world's greatest divers, is about to attempt an 89-meter constant weight, no fins dive. big performance from the New Zealand athlete who's been living here in Long Island in the Bahamas for over a decade now. He's made this his home, his training ground, and he's really the guy to beat out here. Alexei Molchanov stole the crown from him last year, but I got to think Will's going to try to really put it to him this year, yeah, and try and take that crown back.
I think it's going to be a very, very interesting competition between William and Alexei for this year. Yeah.
I think for sure in the female department, there's a lot of like mix-up. There's a lot of people who could potentially get on the podium. But I think it's safe to say that for the first and second spots, really the guys to watch are going to be Alexei and Will, yeah?
I think we also have a lot of exciting divers here are making national records and really, really deep compared to 2 years ago. I think the depth has grown so much just over the last 2 years. I think we have so many male divers that are going 110 meters. Oh my gosh, yes.
And so what would you attribute sort of the growth in the sport to be from? Like, why are people just now starting to really achieve these depths?
I think it's just like how well we understand the science of freediving.
Okay.
And it's like all the athletes before us had built up so much knowledge base for us to, it's almost like standing on a giant's shoulder, and we are utilizing everything we know about freediving, about sports, recovery, training, and understanding how human physiology and technique works in the water. And another important, really, really important thing is that we have really, really good freediving equipments now.
Okay.
I mean, the suits, the way we set up the weights, and even this time here in the Bahamas, in the Blue Hole, we use a different, not different, but more athletes have the headlight setup that is slightly different from what you might have seen in the past, and more streamlined, and that really helped humans to move further in our aquatic potential. The competition opportunities is more, training camps, training facilities all around the world, more instructors. So of course now we have a lot of people participating, a lot more time to train, and we got really, really great support from some of the companies out there, so that gives us the time available to really put as much effort, as 100% effort if we wanted to pursue this. So I think all of that in combination is really giving the sport a huge boost. And of course I think Diveye here is doing such an excellent job getting the footage and the images out that the whole world can see what's going on here underneath the surface, and I think it's going to be a great help to continue to help the sport to grow.
Yep. And so you can see us here on the platform for Diveye. Take a little wave. Hey guys out there, hope everybody's doing good. And that's where me and Jesse are going to be hanging out for the day, on the Diveye platform, just to the right of the main platform. I think it's amazing what Diveye is doing, bringing this sport live to viewers around the world. It used to be freediving was at the surface and at the bottom plate if we were lucky, and now you get to see the entirety of the dive. Pretty cool thing, yeah?
Yes. Yeah, I feel extremely lucky that this is only the second time I came to Vertical Blue in the Bahamas, and already I can see everybody's performances here, right next to the dive line.
And we're about to watch a great one right now. Will Trubridge packing his lungs, getting ready to make an 89-meter constant weight, no fins descent. And so this is really one of the most demanding disciplines in freediving, yeah? And what's your personal best in no fins?
My personal best is 61 meters. 61,
wow. That's a big performance. You know, can you imagine ever doing one day 89?
Not at all. And something you know about this Blue Hole, as William swims down, it's light on the surface, but it gets darker and darker towards the bottom, right?
Yeah.
So it's pitch black at the depth that he is going to. And you know, one day I actually came out here at night to do some fun training at night. Just wanted to see how it is. What I found out was when I did a little no-fin training at night, with very little moonlight, it was pitch black. Oh my god, it was so terrifying for me. And I just suddenly thought, wow, must be how William feels when he's going up from 100 meters at the very bottom of
Yeah,
the plate.
I can only imagine. I've only been to 60 meters,
So dark.
and yeah, it's pretty dark at 60 meters. So
it's a completely different experience.
here we see William kind of heading towards that darkness.
Yes.
The New Zealander displaying his almost flawless technique and no fins. The world record holder at 102 meters for all of you out there. He was the first to break the hectometer, first to dive to 101 meters, first to do 102. He's 6 meters away from the nearest competitor, so he's miles away from the field in the sport of no fins freediving. Really, really a huge accomplishment. Passing 70 meters, 72, which would be the U.S. national record right now, and he'll be continuing on his way down to 89 meters, which is almost a routine dive for William. We'll see if he can. Maybe has any nerves on the first dive of the day, but I think the champion's probably going to handle this dive with good form. You can see he's touching down right here on his home turf, grabbing the plate, grabbing the bottom tag, something you had a little bit of trouble with yesterday, yeah?
I went over the plate.
Yeah.
I was not ready, thinking I was making the dive. I really thought I was going to early turn, so I got surprised by the plate.
Okay.
Totally.
Well, maybe you should have just announced a deeper depth. It looked like you could have done about 96 meters.
That's a joke, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are very conservative in our announcements, so yeah. Thanks, Ben.
So William makes a lot of progress with his nice long arm strokes. He really has a great physiology for no fins diving. Very tall, very lanky. Really big hands and feet are one thing that I've noticed about Will, so it gives him a lot of propulsion on his ascent.
Yeah, it's just a pleasure to watch, isn't it?
Very graceful, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
So the New Zealander back to 55 meters. As you can see, the blue hole starting to become the blue hole again instead of the black hole.
Yes, the color is changing.
Yeah. And so, one thing I think that may change in the future about the sport of freediving is grabbing the tag at the bottom. I think with the technology that we have, there's got to be a way where you can just touch the bottom plate and maybe send some type of electronic signal that, alerts this that we've made that depth. I mean, we have the dive gauges, we have the dive eyes, we have the camera. I think in a lot of ways, it adds a whole nother dimension and kind of makes the dives much more difficult and maybe a little bit more unsafe. And as we saw in your case, I think how much did having to grab the tag affect your dive?
Oh, a lot, for sure.
Yeah, it seemed like it was a very...
I think what really mattered was I was surprised by the plate, and when I found the tag, I got a little bit of emotional reaction, which tensed my body up.
And then here's William breaking the surface, grabs the rope. And now walk us through the surface protocol, Jesse. What does William have to do at the surface to make the dive count?
Okay, so he needed to remove all facial equipments, and in this case, he removed his nose clip and made an OK sign, visible OK sign to the judge, and then and say the words "I am OK" or "I'm OK."
And it needs to come in that order, yeah.
Exactly.
So for those of you at home wondering what it takes for a diver to make a successful dive and to count for full points, the diver needs to descend to the bottom. They need to grab a bottom tag. Store it somewhere. Where do you keep your tag, Jesse?
I keep it on my neck.
You keep it in your neck, okay. So William keeps his on his thigh. They have Velcro. The tags are made of Velcro. And the diver can attach it to their body. Some divers put it in their hood. Some divers even keep it in their hand on the ascent. Something I find difficult to do. And then they return to the surface. Now they have to make the surface and be conscious. Something that was you didn't make yesterday. So that would make it so that Jesse, that would be the most obvious sign of a red card. Now, if they make the surface, once they make the surface, to prove to the judges, the individuals in yellow that you can see there by the platform, that they're okay, they have to go through a series of things called protocol, surface protocol, which means they have to remove all facial equipment. There's only one diver in this year's contest wearing a mask, Alex Davis from Barbados, and so he would need to remove the mask. The other athletes either need to remove their fluid goggles or their nose clip, and then they need to say, "I'm okay," or give the okay signal, and then verbalize that I'm okay. It needs to be in that order, is that correct?
Exactly.
Now, there's some other things
and,
that can
within 15 seconds.
And within 15 seconds of surfacing. So you have 15 seconds to pull everything together.
Airway breaks the surface. Yeah.
Yep. Now we've got William making his descent here. And like I said, grabbing that tag at the bottom, William's done this many times, and you can see he sticks it right there on his thigh where he has some Velcro attached, says okay, gives the okay signal, and then hangs on it. And during that 15-second period, you have to keep the airway up above the water, right?
Yes, we have to actually keep the airway above the water for 30 seconds.
30 seconds.
The judges give us the card.
Yep.
Yes.
And so Will managing to handle all that quite easily. 89-meter, no fins dive on the books. We saw Alexei Molchanov go 3 meters deeper yesterday, but kind of had a little bit of a samba on the surface, and it looked as though he may have given the double okay signal, which is kind of a controversial one. He actually appealed his decision afterwards to the judges, something very unique to the sport of freediving, and had it overturned. Is this something you've ever done before?
I have in pool disciplines.
In the pool disciplines, okay. And what was the issue that you had?
I think it was when we start the dive in the pool, we must touch the wall from the starting end. And at the time, I had my heels against the wall. When I started off my dive, it may have looked like my hands didn't touch the wall. I didn't kick off, so the judges on the surface, looking from above the water, may not have seen that my heel was touching the wall before I started. So that's one thing that I have protested and won the.
And you won.
One protest.
And so your performance counted in that pool competition.
Yes, it did.
So our next diver up is Misuzu Okamoto from Japan, and she'll be attempting constant weight to 88 meters and a dive time of 2 minutes and 50 seconds. Now Misuzu, a very strong Japanese athlete. Hopefully going to see some great dives out of her this week. Is constant weight her specialty, do you know?
Misuzu is such a great freediver. She's been doing the sport for so long. I think constant weight is her favorite. She's her favorite discipline.
Cool. And you can see that Misuzu's wearing some fluid goggles. Is that something that you utilize?
I don't. I actually liked to see the blur on the water.
Okay.
And
me too.
I think a lot of people train with fluid goggles to begin with, and they really get used to it.
Yeah.
Whereas in my case, I started training without goggles.
Yeah.
And I think just the body knows what's familiar, and I when I switched to fluid goggles, I tried it, and it was uncomfortable for me.
Yeah. So I've never used fluid goggles, and my assumption was always that I would get a stronger dive response without the fluid goggles.
That's a possibility, but at the same time, because the goggles press a little bit of pressure around our eyes, so the ocular pressure, in some ways, if applied with the right force, could also enhance dive reflex. So it's kind of like a hard say from the scientific perspective.
Okay, cool. Yeah, it's interesting to hear your opinion of it. I'd always just assumed the cold water against my face had given me a stronger response. I do a lot of spearfishing back home in Hawaii, so I'm doing that with a mask. And so it was really a big transition for me to go to a nose clip. That was something that I think a lot of freedivers out there struggle with, is making that transition from recreational diving where you wear a mask and then switching over to the nose clip. And there's a lot of reasons for that, but maybe that's something you could talk about for our viewers out there that are thinking about maybe making the transition from wearing a mask to going to a nose clip. I mean, I'm assuming you made that transition at one time, and do you have any recommendations for the followers at home on how they could maybe make that a more streamlined process?
Nose clip is a great tool.
Yes.
We just need to find the best ways to use it. It can be used not only in the water, but on land when we do some training drills for the equalization practice, or for more advanced divers, maybe mouthfeel.
Gotcha.
When I teach, I always recommend the students to get a nose clip, and then they can do practice whenever they can. It doesn't. Oh, Mimi, she started her dive.
Yep. So Misuzu Okamoto on her way to 88 meters in constant weight. One of the longest, strongest Japanese athletes on their team. We have a lot of Japanese athletes here, especially quite a few on the female side. Great camaraderie, and then really just great sense of humor from those athletes. They seem really calm and relaxed, Misuzu in particular as well. So passing 36 meters, we see a lot of these athletes utilizing a longer kick cycle than in no fins in other disciplines. We saw Will start to sink at about 30 meters. She's still finning to past 55 to 60.
Gentler kicks.
And then she drops her arms at 64 meters. So a relatively short sink phase.
Yes.
And now, is this something you do? Do you guide the rope with any part of your body, or do you sink away from the line?
I started sinking just like Misuzu in the past, with my arm kind of wrapped around the line, just to be sure that I know where the line is. Oh yes, she made it.
And so Misuzu, just like you, hitting her head on the bottom plate.
She made the depth, great.
Yep.
Well done, Misuzu. And swimming up. So this year, and actually starting from the second half of last year, I've switched completely to facing the line and just watching the line as it goes by and not touching it with my body. So I think it takes some practice, but I like this way.
And so how do you maintain your approximation to the line? How is it that you stay close to the line and not drift away from it on your descent?
I just kind of gauge the distance between my eyes and the line, and use that as sort of like almost like I'm driving, and I kind of follow the road and not drift off the road. Yep.
But is there anything you're doing with your body to try to keep yourself close to the line?
I don't really feel that I was moving to keep, unless if I'm far off the line, I would turn with my hand or my feet a little bit.
Okay,
usually,
so you kind of use your feet and hands as a rudder?
Yeah, it's like this very micro adjustments once I get in position, and it just feels almost just a little bit turning, but I don't need to think about it.
And you can see Misuzu here with some long strokes. This is where the ascent starts to become very difficult. You can tell she's slowing down a little bit at 20 meters. She still has the hands up above the head. The safety's met her at depth. We have some fantastic safety divers here at Vertical Blue. I think that's something you talked about, really allowing these athletes to push themselves, knowing that you're in really safe hands. Great photos by Daan Verhoeven. And Misuzu breaks the surface. Can she hang on?
Goggles, nose clear. Okay, side. Yes.
And so
very
really
nice.
strong surface protocol by the Japanese athlete. 88 meters. It seemed to be a textbook dive for me.
Yes, very nice. Well done, Misuzu.
Celebrating. And so she puts the tag inside of her hood. Another way to do it. You stick it to the back of your neck. Will puts it on his thigh, and Misuzu tucks it in the hood. Again, some athletes may carry it in their hand.
Yes.
Have you tried one of these? I think they're Chabot neck weights from France.
I have not. They look so nice. It's very soft.
Yeah.
And very adjustable.
I think I might have to pick one of those up after I leave here, Vertical Blue. It looks very nice and streamlined and comfortable. I've had the chance to wear one.
Yeah, I'm using the Best Dive neck weight. It's like a pouch. It's just
I've seen that. Yeah, that looks very comfortable as well.
And easier for me to adjust the amount of lead that I have in there as I go. So.
And so we have Misuzu here at the surface making a nice turn. The surface entry, very important in freediving.
Yeah.
And then she drops the arms here, starts her sink phase at 65 meters, touches the bottom at 90.
Smooth.
Adding a couple extra meters. I think she should get a double white card for that one. And an excellent surface protocol. So next up, we have Saiary Kinoshita, another Japanese athlete. However, she'll be attempting 1 meter shallower, 88 meters. Oh, actually the same depth, I apologize. 88 meters, but in free immersion. And that's the discipline that you actually tried to set the world record in. Saiary will be attempting Japan's national record today. So 5 meters shorter than your attempted dive yesterday. Still a Japanese record. Obviously a massive dive from the Japanese athlete. Saiary definitely one of the stronger athletes overall, and maybe someone to watch out for on the podium this year here at Vertical Blue, yeah?
Saiary has won Vertical Blue, if I remember right, twice in a row, or at least multiple times, let's say that.
Okay, so she's a multiple time winner here at Vertical Blue.
Reigning champion, let's say. Right?
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, Saiary, a fantastic diver. And to win here at Vertical Blue, you have 6 dives that you can make over the course of 9 days of competition. Those 6 dives need to be comprised of at least 1 free immersion dive. Free immersion, again, pulling down the rope hand over hand. Constant weight, no fins. Kicking down without fins. Frog kick, breaststroke, sort of modified swimming technique. And then constant weight. And constant weight is kicking down, generally done by most of these athletes with the monofin, unlike in recreational diving where we use bifins. So it's the most well-rounded athlete that takes home the prize for this year's event. We do have prizes for each individual category of competition: constant weight, free immersion, and no fins diving. However, it's the overall cumulative point total from each discipline that allows these athletes to take home the coveted golden cowrie. So here we see Saiary breathing up for her dive. Again, a free immersion dive to 88 meters and an estimated dive time of 3 minutes and 30 seconds. This will be a national record for Japan in the women's division.
Mm-hmm. So there are 3 minutes before the dive.
And what are you thinking about in those 3 minutes? Or not thinking about?
I do. I believe every time there are thoughts coming in, it changes really. I think in general, I sort of try to put my mind into a reserver sort of status, and I just observe the thoughts coming in and the thoughts going by, and feel the environment, feel the temperature, feel the sound, hear it, and but just let it go. Sort of try to be as fluid and in flow as possible. But some days I feel it's surprising, and last second before my dive started, I have one thought that comes in, and the last thought I will actually carry with me throughout the dive. So it's a very tricky game with the mind, and often it's what I find it's challenging, and what I feel about the dive may change just in the last few seconds depending on what the last thought might be.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And so that's a very interesting thing, and it gets back to what we were talking about. I think what most freedivers find very appealing about the sport, and people new to the sport can really embrace, and it's sort of disconnecting from something within us, but also more deeply connecting to, say, the environment and nature, and to something that's maybe in some ways a little bit larger than us. Would that make sense?
Yes, it does. Yeah. It's almost like I am trying to observe everything that's happening around me and not analyzing it in that way, because I freed up my brain to not think about how I feel or what I think or whatever my opinion might be, but just really to observe it, so that I feel this heightened sensation in some way, that I notice more of the things around me.
Yeah. And so we really have a big trend in our culture with these new age meditation and retreats, and a lot of people doing yoga out there, and really all they have to do is just embrace the sport of freediving.
I think just different roads but leading to the same destiny. It's all some kind of spirituality, enlightenment that we sort of pursue and hope that we can understand it more.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I completely agree. I think that that mindfulness that freediving creates, I mean, it really forces you, it's a sport that really forces you to be positive. Mm-hmm. I think that any type of negative thoughts, like you had talked about, it's a very mental sport. Mm-hmm. So it really creates a positive mindset that allows you to be successful. And, we have Saiary here about to attempt the national record for Japan. Very, very strong athlete mentally. And so we'll look forward to seeing how she holds up under the pressure right now.
Great. There she goes. I noticed she has the exact same nose clip as I, even the same color. It's a Molchanov whale tail shaped nose clip.
Molchanov seems to be one of the nose clips. Molchanov's equipment in general seems to be some of the chosen equipment by the majority of these freedivers. Obviously, Alexei Molchanov, one of the top athletes in this competition. last year's winner, also making some amazing freediving equipment as well, which is worn by a lot of these athletes here. So how does her technique look on the way down? I know this is a dive that you have a lot of experience with in free immersion.
She looks really, really good, streamlined, relaxed, and with also very good propulsion.
Yep.
I think she started free falling pretty much around the same depth as I would.
And she utilizes the elastic band technique, it looks like, or maybe she's tucking her fingers into her belt lanyard.
Yes, that's her belt lanyard.
Okay, is that something you do?
Yes, I do too.
You tuck your fingers into the
I use a bungee band this year.
Okay, cool. So that's kind of a la William Trubridge, who is sort of the pioneer of that technique from what I can understand.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where you wear some type of elastic band, a reminder on your thighs.
Mm-hmm.
Saiary using her belt lanyard so that she can kind of tuck the hands inside and be a little bit more streamlined on descent. And that's obviously going to save some time. That's always what we're looking for as freedivers. Yeah, efficiency of movement underwater.
It looks like a very nice and smooth free fall so far.
And you can see she's kind of ruddering with her feet. That's what I was talking about earlier, kind of keeping her close to the line, yeah. The free fall here at Dean's Blue Hole is certainly something that's unparalleled. I mean, even back home in Hawaii, kind of a little bit of current, even in places where there is no current, so to speak. Here, it's absolutely no current whatsoever. So Saiary making the ascent.
Okay. Looks like Saiary is making her progress, and she's still pulling up the line.
Yep, she's doing good. We have her at 30 meters on the platform. Just a little bit of trouble here with the broadcast and the Diveye feed. We'll get it sorted out for you at home so you guys can see this event live, the Origin ECN Vertical Blue Championships. We've got the first safety diver down. That means that Saiary is at 25 meters, making her way to the surface. She should be here shortly. Saiary pulling her way hand over hand to a Japanese national record of 88 meters. And here we are, back live with the Diveye feed. Saiary Kinoshita from Japan, attempting the 88-meter national record in free immersion. Can she do it? This is where the dive becomes...
with the safety divers. And,
yep.
Just approaching
the dive
surface.
becomes very difficult at this point. She's pulling strong. Can she make it? Saiary Kinoshita from Japan. She's made the surface. Breathing deeply. The nose clip comes off. She smiles. She gives the okay signal.
Well
Fantastic
done,
dive from the Japanese athlete. And you can see she attaches that tag to her neck weight, similar to you do, the way that you do. And there's her coach.
Congratulations, Saiary.
Yeah, congratulations. White card. We have a new national record in free immersion for the women. Saiary Kinoshita from Japan, multiple-time winner here at Vertical Blue, setting the bar that much higher. Getting congratulated by the safety team who accompanied her up on that gorgeous dive to 88 meters. So there's a big difference between 88 and 93. Do you think that Saiary will keep pushing and maybe try a world record in free immersion this week?
I don't know. I don't know Saiary's diving strategy, and I think she's so strong. She's such a good diver, and I would say that she definitely has the power and mental capacities to make those dives.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think maybe it'll be interesting to see how much strategy plays a role in people's announcements this week, yeah? Because there's certainly different ways to pursue the event, whether it be someone like Dan Koval, who's sort of shooting for that constant weight national record in the United States, or other people who are gunning for world records in certain disciplines, or do people try to take the overall title? And so we have Saiary here, a past winner, making the descent, pulling down. reaching her neutral buoyancy at about, or negative buoyancy at about 40 meters, making the turn at 88 meters, and then pulling her way back to the surface. So the Bahamas, very remote location here. Sorry for that interruption in our broadcast. A little bit of issues with the Wi-Fi. We're back live here, and we have our next diver, Elise Medulla from France, constant weight, 81 meters, and an estimated dive time of 2 minutes and 30 seconds. So Elise is very interesting in that she's a dentist by trade.
Oh, really? This is first time I met her, so...
Yeah, I was talking with her yesterday, and so a lot of these athletes, not only are they freediving competitors and compete when they have time, but they also have real jobs.
Yeah, it's important to have what's it called, like a career and support, financial support, security, of course. And then I did a lot of work in the last 3 years as I was doing the freediving sport. I did a lot of pharmacology work. I remember those days where I was doing the dive in the morning and working on the computer in the afternoon. So I felt it was a really nice balance for me, for what I love. And for 3 years, I felt it was excellent. And this year, I took a little bit different strategy. I took more effort into training because I want to become stronger. I want to feel physically better as an athlete. I wouldn't call myself an athlete before. I just felt I was more of like a scientist with a hobby of freediving who is going to competitions.
Okay.
But now I feel it's good to have a balance. It's really important, and I feel that I feel more stressed this year because I felt I was treating the diving as sort of a job, let's just say it. If I feel like that, I feel there's more stress, and it's something new for me that I still need to find out how to deal with.
Find that balance.
Yes, I definitely love the sport and training and being an athlete, and I'm working on to see how do I find a better mental balance. So, yeah.
It's a really interesting. Elise actually took 5 years off from competitive freediving to pursue her career as a dentist, and now she's back to the sport of freediving here on what is considered to be freediving center stage, the Origin ECN Vertical Blue Freediving Championships, and making some fantastic dives. The French athlete today attempting 81 meters in constant weight and a dive time of 2 minutes and 30 seconds. So we have Jessie Liu from China here via Hawaii, commentating on the broadcast. Hopefully Will Trubridge will be joining us in just a moment to give a little bit of life to this feed. And 3 white cards today.
Yeah, good start.
Great start. So you talked about making the transition from sort of a full-time pharmacologist to athlete, and I know we have a lot of people out there watching this broadcast that are interested in sort of, you know, how to train for the types of depths and, you know, attempting world records. If someone who's very new to the sport, you've made almost a meteoric rise to where you're at. It's really fascinating to see, for myself included. Can you give anyone at home some tricks and tips on how to kind of, I don't know, maybe simulate your process, and then also to do it safely, you know, not to injure themselves in the process?
Yes. I would say in my case, I was diving with people who really supported me in the beginning. I was diving with Performance Freediving International instructors. From the very first course, I felt that they cared about my safety deeply, and they cared about how my performances go deeply. And it's a very, very deep, calming feeling that it's like from your closest members of the family, which I missed. I was in the United States for 10 years and just studying and working alone. All my family members were in China. And then when I found my freediving family, it was like, wow, I missed it. I missed that energy. So I continued on doing what I enjoyed and I loved. I think it's really, really important to go with how you feel in the sport and what makes you happy, and train in a way that gives you more confidence. Yeah, here we go. There's Elise.
Elise Medulla making her descent. Yep. And so Elise made a fantastic dive yesterday in constant weight, a little bit shallower, so she's kind of up in the bar today. Sort of her warm-up dive, and I think that she'll kind of just continue to inch forward in this constant weight discipline throughout the competition. The French athletes, all very, very strong. They have a great contingency, and something that you talked about, definitely a lot of camaraderie amongst the French athletes. Really cool to see.
Yes, the French is a very, very strong team. So are the Japanese. Yeah, they are very, very supportive of each other, happy training together. It always makes me happy to see them around.
Yeah, I would say the French, the Japanese, and the Italians definitely probably the largest groups of freedivers, sort of making it a team sport here in the Bahamas.
Yeah,
representing
totally.
a lot of different athletes from those countries. I think it makes the sport a little bit easier to kind of have that camaraderie. It is a very independent sport, but it's also nice to have that team atmosphere as well. Yeah.
I also see the same with the Italian team, right?
Yeah, for
We
sure.
have,
The Italian
several
team,
Italian
big time.
Here. Also, I live in Hawaii now, so I have this Hawaiian spirit with me. So we have Dan Kovo and Kristen Kuba from Hawaii.
Yeah.
Leo
Morocco.
from Hawaii. Yes.
Yep.
So we are really, really also enjoying that.
So Elise Medulla grabbing the tag at the bottom, hands by the side, kicking her way to the surface. At a certain point, generally she brings the hands up. There we go, over the head, kind of streamline herself a little bit. Is that something you do?
In constant weight, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what's your reasoning for that?
It's better streamlining when you lock your elbows and straighten arms overhead, so that we sort of minimize the surface area above the shoulder blade.
Yes. And so is that something you do for the entire dive, or like her, she starts the ascent with the hands by the side and then moves them overhead?
I think so far I would say I do the same style as Elise here.
Okay, so you start partially the ascent with the hands by the side and then bring them up over the head?
Yeah.
And you can tell the legs are getting a little tired, but she's almost at the surface. Elise Medulla. Mask off, looking good, gives the okay signal to the judges. And presents the card. Waiting for the judges. So I wonder, we're here in the Bahamas, amazing place to be, very beautiful, and there's this blue hole that you can dive in. I wonder, I think Luke Malis was here last year, Bahamas athlete. He's not representing his country this year, but I wonder if it's something that, the people from the Bahamas will start to catch on to, or if we'll have more people from around the world maybe coming to the Bahamas to experience the magic of Dean's Blue Hole, and also, the diving outside of the competitive atmosphere as well.
I've been to Bahamas a couple of times.
Cool.
I would highly, highly recommend it. There are so many more to see in Bahamas. They have the beautiful water and
Yeah.
lots of varieties of marine life.
Yep.
I remember swimming with tiger sharks in Tiger Beach. Great hammerhead shark in Bimini.
Okay.
And we have some swimming pigs around the Bahamas, including Zuma and here in the Long Island.
Yeah.
I was there in June. I saw them. It was just like so lovely and so cute. Little piglins, they are just almost like the size of two of my palms together, and they are just running around the beach. I think also
So not only is there the Blue Hole, which has tremendous depth and is probably really the premier place for deep free diving in the world. Yeah, I'd say there's really no better place to train. But there's also this amazing exploration that you can do here in the Bahamas. Like Jesse was mentioning, we have shark dives that you can do on Bimini. Here on Long Island, I've done some fantastic spearfishing. Lots of different species of very tasty fish to target. Lots of sharks to see. Not to scare anyone at home, but yeah, just
But photographers love that.
Yeah.
Yes, they travel around the world just to be closer to them.
just to see the sharks.
Yeah,
And then the Pig Island.
yes. On this island, the Long Island, I did a little bit of exploring last month. There are also other interesting spots.
Yeah.
There's a shrimp hole.
Okay.
And there's
That's something I've been wanting to check
where
out.
a lot of red shrimp swim around inside. It's almost like a little cabin. Yeah, not deep water, but so dark with light beams. It makes also very, very unique photography.
Cool. Yeah, so a diving paradise, a photographer's paradise. The weather's great. Bahamas just an amazing place to be. Super fortunate that they're the sponsor of this event. We've been hosting the Origin ECN Vertical Blue Freediving Championships in the Bahamas for 10 years now, and couldn't think of a better location to have this competition. Certainly Dean's Blue Hole, the premier freediving location in the world, allowing these athletes to push the sport of freediving to new limits. We've had Will Trubridge and now Dean Schausch teaching their vertical blue freediving classes for IDA International here on Long Island for quite some time now. So anybody out there looking to learn the sport of freediving in one of the most beautiful locations in the world, definitely check out the Bahamas. It's a place to be. You can see Elise Medulla just completed her 81-meter constant weight dive, the French athlete, another white card in this year's event, looking strong as always after a 5-year layoff. So next up on the line, we have Anna van Botice. The Dutch athlete will be attempting constant weight, 80 meters, in a dive time of 2 minutes and 45 seconds.
Yeah, Anna is an athlete who inspires me a lot.
Really?
Yeah. For example, just on this trip, she's had quite a bit of sinus issues that prevented her from doing the trainings she wanted to do leading up to the competition. And she is embracing it. She's totally embracing it, and she's announcing the dives she wants to do in the competition and having a really, really good spirit. She does a lot of CrossFit training. She's so fit, amazing athlete.
And so how much does fitness play a role in your dives?
I'm not the best person to address that because I haven't really done much of the cardio fitness training in my last few years. I'd say I am starting to give it a try, and I did maybe 2 gym sessions this year so far, and I'm planning to do more. And because I actually I find a way to enjoy it, and I think it's really good, healthy, and good for the sport.
Yeah. So some strength training to add to your repertoire.
Yes, it is something that I'm going to work on.
Maybe to help pull up on those long free immersion dives, or strengthen the legs for those constant weight dives, or maybe even improve the swimming technique and the strength of your breaststroke for no fin, stuff like that.
I think just a general good cardiac fitness helps so much.
Yeah.
With these sports, we are pushing the body to the physical limits. With each dive, we're getting a lot of anaerobic metabolism with all the byproducts that comes with it that makes our muscles fatigue, and the good cardio capacity helps with recovery as well.
And now how about diet? Have you modified your diet in any way to help improve your freediving?
Great question, Ben. I didn't modify my diet to dive for freediving. However, I did learn so much from all the freedivers I've came across that a healthier diet is just better. I was not paying too much attention to what I eat. I was too much focused on the work that I was doing.
Yeah.
And ever since I started freediving, I felt that I need to take care of my body first before I can even think about performance.
Yeah.
And I had anemia before I started freediving. And
Which
then,
is?
So I had a really, really low blood red cell counts. It was
which is not good for
some level
freediving.
of iron deficiency. Yes, I was really, really low, and then I had to change my diet to be normal.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And so we have Anna here about to attempt 80 meters in constant weight. As Jesse has indicated, been struggling with a little bit of sinus issues, but really has just managed to kind of plow through them and on her way to hopefully a successful performance here in the constant weight department. Walk us through her technique on the descent, Jesse. So kicking hard, hands by the sides. It's a little bit different style, yeah. And then she guides the rope with her hand on the way down, maybe kind of help with streamlining, but also to sort of stay close to the rope, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Looking good, passing 55 meters. Anna van Botice, the Dutch athlete, attempting a dive to 80 meters in constant weight here at day 2 of the Origin ECN Vertical Blue Championships.
She did an early turn.
So I'd imagine most of the turns you're going to see in this event are going to be due to equalization, yeah?
It's either the ears or the sinuses.
Ears and sinuses. And so like we talked about, Anna's been struggling with the sinus issue for a little bit. Maybe that caught up with her on today's dive. Kicking hard to the surface.
She seems a little. I'm sure she's really disappointed when she did the early turn, and then she seems a little bit of in a rush to get up. I don't know when you saw her dive yesterday. Was it the same style?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I think if she just relaxed more, and that would save her some energy on the ascent. Yeah.
Yeah, relaxation in the sport of freediving is certainly paramount. I mean, that's one of the beautiful things we can learn from this sport.
She's so powerful. She's totally fine. Fine. Yeah.
So a little bit of an early turn there from Anna van Botice. Looking forward to seeing her come back later in the week and attempt that dive again. Hopefully those sinus issues can clear up and she can manage the equalization and get herself down there to 80 meters.
Yeah.
And so walk us through a little bit about your process for equalization. A lot of these athletes use alarms. We've talked a lot about the mouth fill technique. That's something that I get quite a few questions from the viewers back home. If any of you have any questions during this broadcast, Freedive, at FreediveHI on Instagram or Freedive Hawaii, shoot me a direct message and I'll be sure to ask whatever athletes you want during today's event any of your questions. So any of you guys who have any questions out there, you can shoot me a message. We're live here at the event, and we'd be certainly happy to answer any questions that you have for these athletes. Been getting a lot of questions about mouth fill. We obviously have an expert here in Jessie Liu, so it'd be cool to kind of pick her brain a little bit about where she takes her mouth fill, where she sets her alarms, and how she sort of manages that mouth fill to depth. Maybe you can give us a little info on that.
I wouldn't say I'm an expert. I'm also learning.
You're better than most people,
yes,
that's for
I'd love
sure.
to share, yeah. Thanks, Ben.
So Anna with a little early turn there. We're just watching the replay.
Yeah. I would say mouthfill is a very critical technique here to dive deep, like really deep. If the body allows, if the flexibility and the hypoxia, tolerance to hypoxia allows.
Yes.
So
And so for those of you listening, that's something that if you're interested in learning mouth fill, I would stress developing the adaptation through what? Exhale diving?
a lot, I think. In general, everybody's body is a little different where the baseline flexibility is.
Yes.
Like it's about the flexibility of our chest and rib cages.
Yes.
So any of the breathing exercises like
Yes.
yoga or any kind of stretching involving breathing,
Yes.
it helps.
Absolutely.
Right? So we always have the stretching and sort of free diving breathing exercises part of the course
Yep.
that introduced to the beginner free divers.
And then so once you've sort of developed that and then combine that with an adaptation to higher levels of CO2 and lower levels of oxygen, then you can really start to explore that deeper equalization of mouthfill technique safely. So
yeah, on the same topic about flexibility, there's also something that you don't normally think of as flexibility, but it is in relation to depth and pressure. It is the flexibility of our soft tissues of the organs, lungs and blood vessels around it, and alveoli and all the tiny little capillaries surrounding them, and how the dive reflex triggers the blood to fill into those blood vessels.
Yeah.
As the pressure increases, we replace the compressible air with that volume of blood fluid that's incompressible, so that the chest is not under a huge amount of pressure difference from inside and outside, and how the blood and then the filling in our lungs, or the pulmonary filling, that can disappear as we ascend, and how quickly the blood moves out, for example. So that part is also the adaptation, and I just simply we could say depth adaptation, but it's kind of like the flexibility of how our circulation system and other systems around it that may also involve other nervous systems, and so it's also part of the adaptation training we need to go through in order to dive deep. So I think it's just a very progressive and step-by-step process.
yeah.
And then mouthfill, coming back to your original question, is a very useful tool when we cannot just do Valsalva equalization to a failure depth, and then we can utilize the air that we move from lungs to the air to the mouth prior to reaching that Franzel failure depth, so that we have a bit of reserve air in the mouth to continue to go deeper.
And that's sort of what the mouthfill is.
Exactly, but at the same time, if you imagine you remove some air from your lungs and place it in your mouth, there's less air inside of our lung and chest cavity to support that pressure change. So when we go deep, there's going to be more stress on the lungs, and therefore why the flexibility becomes
very
such an
important.
important factor.
Yeah,
Yes.
and so we'll certainly see that here on our next dive of the day. Next up to dive, Denny Grossmeyer from French Polynesia, from Tahiti, attempting free immersion dive to 80 meters. We'll also have Saiary Kinoshita, vertical blue champion, in the booth with me for a quick interview during Denny's dive. She'll be able to walk us through the dive.
How are you?
Good, I'm doing
Good.
well today.
Good?
Yes, how's everything with you,
Did you
Saiary?
cut your hair?
Did I cut my hair? No, I haven't found a good barber here on Long Island yet. Maybe if I can, maybe for the viewers out there, if anybody knows a good barber on Long Island, Saiary thinks I need a touch-up. So I'll take care of that this evening if we can find a good barber. We've got some Japanese athletes here in the booth with me, both white card divers today. Walk us through your dives.
Good.
How was your dive?
Before that, I was very, very nervous because this is the first time for me. So this is first time, so I was really nervous, but Hanako and Mimi are cheering me up, so...
Yeah. You never look nervous, though.
Huh?
You never look nervous.
No,
I've never seen you nervous.
Yeah, I was nervous there.
I only see laughing.
Yeah, that's right, but...
Is it nervous laughter?
Last year?
Nervous laughter.
Nervous laughter. Ah, yeah, I think so.
Okay.
When I was nervous, I tried to laugh.
Yep.
To smile.
And as you can see here, the beautiful gold
Molchanov.
Molchanov's nose clip worn by Saiary Kinoshita, and also Jessie Liu, who attempted a world record yesterday in free immersion.
Same?
Yep. Same nose clip.
Same color.
Same color. Nice.
Yeah. Good nose clip.
Yes, I like it.
It matches your earrings.
Yeah.
Awesome, awesome, cool. And then, so how would your dive go today?
Pretty good.
Very good.
Before I nervous too.
Nervous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We know you have quite a bit of experience in freediving competition, yeah, over the years.
15 years.
15 years.
Yeah.
So I think you've been competing longer than I've been freediving.
How many years?
I've actually been freediving for close to 20, but mainly spearfishing. Yeah, just recently started getting into the depth freediving. And so we have Denny Grossmeyer about to make his descent to 80 meters in free immersion. The athlete from French Polynesia, looking strong off the start. So have you had the chance to dive with Denny yet?
No.
No? Okay, so pick apart his technique. What's he look like? How's he looking? Good?
He's going to 80.
Yes, 80 meters in free immersion. So at depth, you just set the national record in for Japan. Yeah, very excited, huh?
Yeah. But two months ago,
Yes.
I set 86.
86.
Yeah, so.
Okay. So
that
was it your own
my-
record that you
yeah,
broke?
Yeah. 5 years ago, I made my first pre-immersion record.
Okay.
This competition.
Gotcha. And how many times have you won vertical blue?
One, maybe twice.
Twice now? Maybe or definitely twice?
I don't remember, but maybe twice.
Is that because you
I don't
win?
care.
Is that because you win so much?
No, I just don't remember.
Okay. Maybe it's good in freediving short memory.
Yeah, that's because of my brain.
So we have Denny passing 60 meters.
He looks very relaxed.
Definitely very relaxed.
And attaching the rope. How do you free fall? Like this? Attaching the rope?
I touch the rope when I free fall, yes. I haven't got used to free falling off the line yet. But because Dean's allows for such a nice free fall, I have been experimenting with being off the line.
Touchdown, nice.
And so Denny making the pull at the surface at 80 meters. Taking some time to tuck the tag into the hood. And so we saw yesterday that kind of, made things really difficult for Jessie and maybe in some ways kind of cost her that world record attempt. We saw you put the tag on the neck.
Yes.
Okay,
Well,
and Misuzu in the hood.
Good.
In the hood, okay. So it definitely adds a little dimension to the dive, yeah? Yeah. Maybe in the future just touch the plate.
Yeah, I hope so.
I think we need electronic buzzer.
Yeah.
Just touch and go.
Simple.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
simple.
I think with all the advances technologically in freediving, we've got Diveye now, we've got cameras at the bottom, we've got lanterns so people can see the line. I think that we can come up with a system to alert everyone that divers have made the plate without having to grab a tag. I have a lot of faith in that. I'm sure the Diveye guys would be happy to take that on as a side project in their spare time. Yep, so here we go. 20 meters. We got the first safety diver, Denny Grossmeyer from French Polynesia, attempting an 80-meter free immersion dive. So we have a great safety team here at Vertical Blue.
Yeah.
There's the Diveye drone. Is the Diveye your friend at depth? Yeah, nice to have the Diveye.
Yes. Especially since blue hole is very dark, so
Yeah.
it's
And
good
so
to
Denny
have.
breaks the surface, breathing deeply,
Yes. It looks
removes the nose
very
clip,
clear.
Okay.
Okay.
and he gives the okay signal.
Nice, and he has a tag.
Yep.
Nice.
And so Saiary, I know you just made the national record attempt. Are there any sponsors you'd like to thank?
Huh?
Sponsors.
Sponsors?
Yeah. Soundhouse. Who else? Hyatt Regency. Who's this?
Furga.
What-
This watch.
They make the watch. Beautiful watch. Yeah, so Denny with the white card. We're looking good today. No red cards so far. That's our goal.
That's good.
One yellow card on a short turn, but all white cards so far.
Very good.
Close to some beautiful watches. Anything else?
And this is Noodle Company.
Noodle company.
Yes.
Do they make the best noodles?
Yeah.
Are you gonna give me some noodles?
Yes, sure.
Okay,
I will
cool.
send you.
All right, thank you. I'll trade you yoga tips for noodles.
You get it? Okay. You have
Sounds
to teach
good.
me yoga.
And Misuzu, any sponsors you'd like to thank back home?
Yes, my sponsor is Suzuki Marine
Okay.
and Kinugawa
Okay.
and my supporters club.
Yeah,
And
She has a big supporters club.
that's awesome.
My friends
Cool.
A
support me.
lot of people are cheering her out.
Yeah, so the
Right.
Japanese athletes, the French, and the Italians is a really big support group for you guys. It's really awesome to see how popular the sport of freediving is in Japan. I know for myself personally, if I had to talk Japanese during this broadcast, I would be at a loss of words. So if there's anything you guys want to say to the crowd back home in Japanese, feel free, fire away. Nothing?
日本記録作ったよ
応援ありがとうございます。
みんな見てる
あと原さんがこれから潜ります。見てて。
15分後原さんだよ
見ててね。サポート
Cool.
して
So what
きます
time is it in Japan right now? Do you know?
Midnight
Midnight.
Midnight I think
So
Not midnight.
friends and family are going to have to stay up pretty late to watch you guys.
Yeah.
I'm sure they will. The Japanese have a lovely support for all the athletes in there. Well, thanks for stopping in, ladies. It was great
Thank
to
you
see
for
you.
having us. Thank you
Yeah,
very much.
No problem. Hey,
ありがとうございます。
congratulations on your record today. It was awesome to see you perform.
Michael, just the phone.
So we have the replay here. Denny kind of taking a little bit of time at the bottom, finding the tag, stuffing it in his hood. French Polynesia. Yep, he's from Tahiti.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very exotic place that I haven't been to.
Yeah, I've never been to Tahiti as well. It's definitely, obviously, a place I'd love to go. Next up, Remy Dubern from France. Constant no fins, 77 meters. So in a dive time of 3 minutes and 5 seconds, Remy's one of the strongest no fins performers here. We saw some fantastic performances yesterday by Samo Jurenko, who actually was originally given a white card, and then the judges went back later and saw that he had pulled outside of the candy cane. So can you talk about a little bit of what is the candy cane, and for the viewers at home so they understand what that is?
Yeah, so there's this zone above the plate where we can grab at the bottom if the athlete is doing constant weight or constant no fin, and we could only pull once down and once up in this zone, right? So if we reach outside of this zone, grab, it will be a penalty
Yes.
of 5 points, and if we pull, it will be a disqualification,
Okay.
either down or up.
So
it was such a, you know.
other than in free immersion, you cannot touch the rope outside of the candy cane.
We
Free
could-
immersion, you can
we
touch the
could,
rope.
for the turn.
For the
We
turn.
could for the early turn,
But it has to
only-
be inside the 2 meter.
So yes, for the turn we could grab and pull once down, once up.
Yep.
But as only once as turning early. But then as the early turn, it comes with penalty already.
Yes.
But for a successful white card dive, we
Yes.
could not grab or pull outside of the candy cane zone.
Which is the marked area at the bottom of the line next to the bottom plate.
Yes.
And so Samo Jurenko penalized yesterday for touching outside of the marked area, so his dive will not count. However, Dean Schausch making an 80 meter 80 meter constant no fins dive, and then Andrew Kvetkovic also making a successful national record attempt. We have Remy Dubern from France attempting 77 meters and no fins in a dive time of 3:05. The French athlete's so strong. I believe Morgan Borchis from France holds the record at 90 meters and no fins. So Remy's got a little bit of work to do if he wants to catch up to his countrymen there.
Yeah, I remember watching Morgan's dive last year in Roatan.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got a extremely beautiful style and very fluid movement on the water.
Yeah.
And he just flies with each stroke. Yeah.
Yeah, so some people say he may be sort of, him and Alexei Molchanov may be the next in line to sort of maybe challenge the long-standing record of Willie Trubridge at 102 meters and no fins. No one's really even taken much of a stab at that record. Will sort of seems to be at top of the pile in that one. It'd be great to see maybe one of these athletes one day sort of give Will a run for his money in the no fins department. He's been the long-standing king of no fins diving for almost 10 years now, and so yeah, not much competition near the top of the pile. Maybe this year in the event we'll see Alexei Molchanov already tried 92 meters. It'll be interesting to see who takes home the constant no fins title. Will someone be able to snatch that from Will, or will Will, like in years past, excel in that discipline and take home the no fins title again? Remy Dubern making an excellent performance here, 77 meters in no fins. He's in the top 25 in the IDA rankings for no fins. So a fantastic performer from the fantastic first performance from the French athlete. Here we see Remy making his turn at the top. He's going to demonstrate his excellent technique on the descent. So one thing I've noticed in my own dives is that equalization definitely becomes more of an issue in no fins diving than it does in the other disciplines. I've been able to go to much deeper depths in free immersion and constant weight than I am in no fins simply due to equalization. Is that something that you struggle with as well, or is it on your no fins attempts does equalization come quite naturally?
I think for everybody, because of the exertion of swimming that produces more carbon dioxide.
Yes.
So equalization becomes harder in the same depth range.
Yes.
Compared to other disciplines.
Okay.
And I remember you, Ben, you did a Hawaii competition this year, and you did amazing no-fin dives there. You did 3 days of no-fin dives.
3 days
and
of no-fin
3 days
diving,
of
yes.
white cards, right?
Yeah, I actually didn't realize before that competition that you were allowed to do constant weight and free immersion with no fins. And then when Kurt Chambers told me that the dives would still count if I did every dive with no fins, I just decided to, kind of wing it and go with the no fins because that's sort of what I'd been working on in training.
Yeah, so how did you make that decision? Do you think that you just really enjoyed doing no fins, or is it because you felt very confident in winning that title?
Well, for me personally, I just sort of, I come from a surfing background and a competitive sports background, mainly baseball. And that had been my focus for a long time. And so when I got into the sport of freediving,
Remy
pulling
bailed,
up the rope,
but decided to bail.
Yeah.
Not feeling it today.
And so I think it maybe Remy's focus throughout the competition, maybe no fins, and so maybe he's just saving a little bit of energy for later on in the week. Yeah.
That's actually an experience. Really, really well trained and experienced divers know when to make that call, and I think it's really wise.
Yeah.
It's just I have so much respect for him because I haven't got that yet.
Okay.
If I had, probably I would make better calls in terms of the halfway to dive, ask for assistance or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm a bit stubborn.
Yeah.
So I need to really learn from divers like Remy.
Yeah. And this is something that I've done in training where, I'll do the descent, no fins, and then I'll pull myself back up the rope.
Yeah.
Simply to save energy. No fins is definitely much more demanding to swim up that way.
Oh, he's having fun. He's decided to do a few more.
Yeah, so now he's
no-fin
just
strokes.
kind of making this into a training dive.
Yeah. He's having a good time.
So sort of knowing that he's already not going to get full points for the dive. Just kind of having a little bit of fun with it.
Yeah.
Obviously pulling on the rope is going to get him a red card. Remy Dubern with an early turn. I think just saving a little bit in the tank for later on in the week, which I think, like Jesse Lou said, is definitely a smart decision.
Yes. It may look simple that, okay, I feel tired and now I'm going to pull on the rope, but it's not easy decision to make.
Yeah.
And on the dive, where we are actually turning the brain to almost a hibernating state where we're trying to not think, not process, not making decisions.
Yeah.
But at the same time, to know when to decide to bail out or dive, that you are actually engaging the analytical part of the brain again to make that decision. It takes really, really just a lot of experience and training. And yeah,
and you can see here where Remy decides to make that decision. Maybe his equalization failed him on the descent, and maybe that's what caused that turn, or
Yeah. My guess would be because he really wanted to make a clean dive and he was not happy with early turn.
Yeah.
So why not to just save some energy and make for the dive next time.
Absolutely.
So not exhausting yourself. So I could have made the same decision yesterday, but I didn't because I had a little trouble at the bottom, and I thought, this is not the best dive. It's not smooth. Something interrupted me. I could have said like I want an assistant come out, but because I don't have that experience to make that decision yet. And it's something that I think you just have to go through and learn and just be better afterwards. Well,
I think like you said, yesterday for you was a great learning experience. We never, as human beings, it's my belief that we never learn as much from our successes as we do from our failures. And
exactly.
I'm really excited for you. I hope you have another chance to try some deep dives later on this week, and at some point in the near future, whether it's this comp or the next one, try that world record dive again and nail it. I'd love to see that.
Thank you, Ben, for your confidence in me, and I will go as just see how it goes and go with my feelings, and that's also one of the things I learned from freediving.
Yeah. And so next up on the line we have Tetsao Hara from Japan, constant weight, 75 meters in a dive time of 2 minutes and 35 seconds. So we're looking forward to watching this dive from the Japanese athlete. We've got a couple of guests that are going to join us in the booth, one of which is William Trubridge, the world record holder in no-fins freediving, the president of Vertical Blue, and largely considered to be one of the greatest freediving athletes of all time. So it's going to be a pleasure to talk with William here in a moment about his dive today. He was the first diver. Generally not something William's accustomed to. The New Zealander diving in constant no-fins to a depth of 89 meters. Generally one of the deepest divers in the contest. So William having the opportunity to go first today. What do you think of that, Will?
Yeah, it was different. I had to wake up at like 5 o'clock this morning to get here in time to do all my have breakfast and do the whole routine before leaving for the pool hole. But I managed to sleep well last night, so that's the main thing. And when I got here, I felt fresh, I felt comfortable.
Yeah. So one thing I definitely hear a little bit of from the athletes is a little bit of first day jitters and maybe wanting to do a conservative performance. 89 meters for you, was that something you would consider to be on the conservative side?
Yeah, that was the idea at least. Typically I often start VB with a dive to 90 meters, and today, just to be kind of extra conservative, I decided to do a dive in the 80s.
Yeah.
It's always, for me at least, takes a little bit to kind of warm up to the event because there's so much that's been happening leading up to it. So it takes a few days and a few dives just to kind of get into the rhythm of only diving again. But today was a good start, so yeah, I'm happy with that.
Yeah, so for those of you that don't know, Will's been organizing this competition here in the Bahamas for over 10 years. I think it's almost impossible to fathom how much energy Will puts into this event. And so the fact that you've been able to win this event, how many times?
I don't know. Well, Alexi beat me last year. I think that was the first time I haven't won it.
Okay, so Will winning the event almost every year and organizing it. I mean, that's just like the challenge behind that. I can't even really put into words. To be able to compete, focus on his performances, and then organize everything logistically. And this year we have Diveye that's filming all the dives. I mean, I think that's a fantastic addition to the event. Yeah. It
is. Yeah, it's really going to revolutionize the sport. I mean, we're seeing it already with 3 million viewers almost in China yesterday, and so yeah, it's incredible to be able to go back and see your dives, to watch your competitors live, and for the safety as well. It's a really huge bonus.
Yeah, I think that's something that we highlighted earlier in the broadcast, which was amazing to see. Jessie yesterday attempting the world record for the women in free immersion. Coming up a little bit short, having a blackout, but what an excellent job the safety team did. How quickly they responded, how quickly Jessie responded after, and to see her sitting in the booth today, hopefully ready to dive, in subsequent days of competition. I think that really is going to make the sport kind of take it away from being considered to be so dangerous.
Yeah, we're trying to work on that kind of negative connotation that we've had over the years, and the media's readiness to jump on the accidents or the bad things that happen. So it is good to see these kind of.
It's amazing to me personally to see freediving being considered dangerous coming from the background of big wave surfing. Surfing out there with the guys at Jaws, and then you come here and you realize how safe freediving is as a sport. I think that the sports out there, skateboarding, big wave surfing, I mean, those are extremely dangerous sports. And so, hopefully we can kind of overcome that hurdle with the help of the Diveye guys and the excellent safety and the event organization that Will puts on, and then kind of really show what these athletes are capable of and maybe promote the sport to a much wider audience.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, that's what we're hoping.
Awesome. So we have Tetsuo Hara from Japan, one of the Japanese contingency attempting constant weight here to a depth of 75 meters and a dive time of 2 minutes 35 seconds. We're fortunate to have Will Trubridge to be able to commentate this dive and walk through this Japanese athlete's performance.
Looks like he got off to a good start, nice clean entry and smooth technique on the way down.
Yeah. And so have you been putting a little more emphasis on your constant weight technique in the last little while, or is the...
I have a little, yeah. I've been trying to kind of balance out my training between all the disciplines.
You're really known for your no-fins diving.
Yeah, it's hard to kind of juggle them, because if you train too much the monofin, the no-fin suffers.
Becomes a little more challenging. So for those of you out there, Will Trubridge, double world record holding freediver, free immersion, correct? To what depth?
124.
And then no fins to 102 meters. So two very huge performances. He shares the free immersion record with Alexei Molchanov?
Technically, I understand it's not shared.
Okay.
But I'm sure that he'll try and remedy that during this year's event.
Yeah, I'm sure he will. But I'm sure you got a little extra in the bag for him too. So
We'll
see how that plays out.
Tetsuo's looking good now. He's just come up to the candy cane. He's taking a tag, and he's off back to the surface.
Yep. Yeah. So really awesome to see the Japanese athletes. They have such great camaraderie.
Yeah, and they're really consistent divers. They almost never overstretch themselves. They just take their time, build up depth, build into the competition. It seems like that's what Tetsuo is doing here. As he ascends really smoothly and nicely up past 50 meters.
Yep, 50 meters. Yeah, it's been a pleasure for me to see like Saiary Kinoshita and Hanaka Hirose. Just how relaxed and comfortable they are every day at Dean's Blue Hole, and how supportive they are of each other. Yeah. Freediving certainly an individual support, but also really nice to have that team camaraderie and the support of their entire country from Japan.
Yeah, definitely.
And so here we have the first safety divers meeting them. Excellent team of safety here. How do you say Jimmy's last name?
Montanti.
Montanti.
Jimmy's on the right, and it looks like Roberto Berto on the left.
On the left, so two fantastic divers in their own right. Avid spear fishermen, very good competitors as well. Definitely is the best safety team in the world here at Vertical Blue. Athletes are always in good hands.
Strong protocol from Tetsuo.
Yeah. And so we saw Alexei do a little bit deeper dive in the no fins department yesterday, but you know, comparative to you, had a little bit of a wobble on the surface, and some would say he gave the double okay. The judges thought he gave a double okay, but then he went ahead and protested that performance, and the performance was actually validated. So it's an interesting thing in freediving that you can protest performances, yeah?
You can protest the decision on your own performance. So Tetsuo just got a white card for that.
Yeah.
By the way.
Yep.
And you can also protest. It doesn't happen very often, but in tight situations, sometimes in World Championships, you can protest a decision on another athlete's performance if it impacts your own.
And it maybe doesn't make you any friends there.
No, normally doesn't. No. But
so Tetsuo packing his lungs, making his descent. Fantastic dive by the Japanese athlete, 75 meters constant weight. The Japanese athlete's always very, very strong in their performances. Here he is touching down at the bottom, grabbing the tag. Keeps the tag in his hand, I believe, on his way on the ascent. And then he comes to the surface, and then he gives a very strong surface protocol, meaning he removes the facial equipment, removes the facial equipment, gives the okay signal, and then also verbally says that he's okay. And it needs to come in a specific order, yeah?
In that precise order. If you do anything else in between, if you make 2 okay signs, if you say anything else during that time, then it's a red card as a DQ.
And I also believe you need to keep the airway above the water for 30 seconds.
Exactly, yeah.
Yep, and so in that time period, the judges, if they see anything happen that is not according to that protocol, the dive can be discredited and you can receive either a yellow or a red card. Most likely a red card, yes.
For anything related to the service protocol, it's going to be a red or a white, yeah.
A red or white card, okay. And then the yellow cards would be for?
Yellow cards are for when you turn early, or if you grab the line during the dive, like if you are having trouble equalizing and grab the line before you reach the candy cane, that last 2 meters, then that will count as -5 points. And then any difference in your announced depth and your realized depth also gives you penalty points. And the system is that if you are attempting 85 meters and you turn at 80, then you lose another 5 points because of that difference between 85 and 80. And also an additional point for not bringing up the tag, so you lose 6 points and you go down to 74.
So a great explanation of the point system here and how the scoring and judging is done in freediving. Will, like I talked about at the beginning of our interview, I mean, you've really done a monumental job in organizing this competition. I would say it's definitely probably freediving's premier competition. We have a lot of amazing sponsors this year that have really helped make this a reality. Maybe you could tell us a little bit about who those sponsors are, what they do, and how they help support the event.
Sure, yeah. So our naming sponsor this year is Origin ECN, who contacted us with interest in being involved in the event, and they've been hugely supportive and very quick to act, so we're really grateful to have them as our naming sponsor. And then principal sponsors are Sunto and the Bahamas. Sunto's been supporting Vertical Blue for many years now. They're also a personal sponsor of mine. And the Bahamas Ministry of Tourism this year is supporting the event, which is really great to see. I mean, there's always local support from the people of the Bahamas who get out and help us and are really appreciative of the event, but it's great to see the government getting behind it as well. And then our partners, Paralens, who are supplying the amazing cameras that we're using at the bottom plate on the safeties, and Ada International, who are also supporting the event.
Yeah, and so I can say I'm very fortunate to be living in Hawaii, and to come here to the Bahamas is just an absolute treat. I mean, the diving, the spearfishing, the photography, the wildlife, and then Dean's Blue Hole are absolutely amazing. So it's just a fantastic place for people to be able to come and visit and dive. And the locals, whether they know it or not, have so much aloha spirit. I haven't seen one frown. All the locals wave to you on the road. They're super excited to see all the freedivers. Hugely supportive of the event. It's just really amazing to see so much local support. And then those Paralens action cameras, as a spearfisherman, just so easy to operate and use. If you haven't had the chance to use one, I think they're the best action camera in the business. And then obviously these Sunto dive gauges, they're as good as they get. I think probably the choice of all the athletes in the event. I can't think of anyone who's not using a Sunto here, really. Yeah, it's definitely
the most
best.
accurate, the most reliable, and have been for many years.
I actually got my Sunto dive gauge from you, so I thank you for that. It's really helped a lot with my alarms. It's the first dive gauge I've been able to use. I have very poor hearing, that I can hear the dive gauge with the alarms underwater. And then the measurements, compared to the other dive gauges I've used, are much more precise and accurate. So in terms of really fine-tuning my buoyancy and fine-tuning my diving, it's just been a tool that I almost cannot live without now. So really a big thanks to Sunto for making an excellent product. It's been great having you in the booth, Will. I've got some other athletes we want to interview. But look forward to seeing some great performances from you this week, and hopefully maybe keeping the title here in the Bahamas this year.
We'll see. It'll be a strong challenge, I think.
I know Alexi's definitely a tough competitor, but I know you've been doing a lot of training, so we'll see if you're up for the task.
That's right.
Right on, Will.
Cheers, Ben.
Yeah, no worries. All right, next up we have in the booth Denny Grossmeyer from French Polynesia. The athlete from Tahiti had a great dive today. Really a nice guy. He did a free immersion dive to 80 meters in 3 minutes. maybe you could tell us a little bit about this dive before we see Difeng Liu from China attempt his constant weight dive to 75 meters.
Okay, so hello everybody, hello Tahiti. Maybe some family and friends are watching me, and I'm very
Yep.
I'm very happy to be here, and I arrived like 1 week ago with the French team.
Yep.
Alice Modolo, Rémi Dubert, Thibaut Guinness, and Stéphane Toureau. And we trained a few days in the fantastic, awesome place, the Dean Blue Hole. The training, I felt this training very good. I arrived from France, where I had a contest in Nice Abyss contest. The water was very, very cold, and when you come here in warm water, like where I live in Tahiti,
Yeah.
I felt so good. So my dive was okay. I had bad sleeping last night, but when I focused on my dive, everything was okay.
You managed to power through it.
Yeah.
And then we have Difeng Liu from China, constant weight, 75, and he's starting to make his descent. And so obviously the descent with the monofin a little bit quicker.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe a little less CO2 buildup than, or a little less CO2 buildup than you would get in what you did with the free immersion performance.
Yeah. For me, I like free immersion for the relaxation, absolute relaxation.
Yeah.
And I come from spearfishing,
Yes.
so I know what it is to use fins, monofins not really, but fins.
Yeah.
But in freediving, I want to focus in free immersion,
Okay.
and maybe later with no fin.
Okay. Cool. So that's sort of my preference as well.
Yeah.
I've always enjoyed the no fins diving, coming from a surfing background.
Exactly.
I'm used to swimming. So
Yeah, yeah.
For me, it's much more natural to be underwater. I think that the transition to keeping your feet together in the monofin, especially if you have a lot of spearfishing experience, can
Yeah.
definitely be difficult.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Right on. So passing 60 meters here, on his way down. Really awesome. We have this Diveye crew to film the event. I mean, that's really a huge game changer, yeah?
Yeah. Very, very relaxed. A good position.
Yep.
Yeah, at the bottom, no problem.
The Chinese
tag.
athlete grabs the tag, and so he sticks it to his leg. Where do you keep your tag?
I put my tag in my
In the hood.
yeah.
Okay. Cool. So all different techniques for the tag. We see some
Exactly.
people keep it in their hand, some people in the hood, some people on the weight belt, some people on the thigh.
Yeah.
All different ways. They're Velcro tags.
Velcro
so
tag
they,
also,
They
yeah.
stick. So Difeng
Really
is
big
making a really
speed.
strong ascent,
Yeah,
very fast.
yeah.
And there's always that balance, yeah, of how fast you go versus how much relaxation you have, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, you have to balance at the descent, ascent,
So way down.
the way down and way up.
Yeah. And so Difeng about to break the surface here.
Yeah,
The Chinese athlete, first dive of the competition in constant weight, immediately removes the
he's-
glasses
he's okay,
and
no
gives the
problem.
okay signal. So it looked like an easy dive for the Chinese athlete there.
No problem for him.
Yeah. Awesome dive. Looking for his white card.
Yes.
We've only had one red card today,
Okay.
one yellow card, and the rest white cards.
Yeah.
Great performance,
Nice
great
dive.
performance. Awesome. So while we've got you in the booth, anyone you'd like to thank for helping you be here at Vertical Blue this year?
Oh yeah, but first of all, thank you to my family, my friends that's supporting me. They give me the strength and the power. And you know, in Tahiti, we also have the Tahitian mana. The mana is the spiritual energy. So when I dive, I feel this spiritual Tahitian mana coming in me, and I think to all my family and friends, and that give me the strength to do my dive. But also I want to thank all my sponsors.
Yeah.
They helped me a lot to come here, to go to France compete, and also to come here. From Tahiti is very expensive, so they helped me very, very good, and I appreciate, and I say I love you guys, and I'm very happy to make a good dive on my first day.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure now what I'm gonna announce tomorrow, but I'm gonna talk with the team. We talk a lot on each announcement, and I hope tomorrow is going to be okay for me. And one more time, I'm very happy to be here. It's a beautiful place, and the staff, the organization,
Just a wonderful event.
thank you. I love you guys.
Yeah.
Tahiti represent.
Absolutely. Yeah, so we're hoping the Mana stays with you all week and that you can make some strong dives. Same like Hawaii. It's always great to see the.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Love you guys. Thanks.
Right on, brother. Yeah, thank you.
I'm leaving as well.
So that was our last dive. Dingfeng Liu of China, constant weight to 75 meters, receiving a white card. Fantastic performance by the Chinese athlete. We've got one more interview to do before we go on break. We've got Elise Medulla. From France. Dentist, free diver turned dentist turned free diver. And part-time help with Beyonce.
Yes.
Yeah. So just, I'd say very well-rounded.
Sorry?
Very well-rounded.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing to do a lot of things like that, and I can come here and have a very good time and very deep dive because it's the first time I come back to 81 meters.
Yep. That was your first dive to 81?
Yeah. No, it's not my first time.
Oh.
I got it in 2013.
2003.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it was a national record.
Okay.
And I'm so pleased to do it again today.
Yeah.
And I'm so excited to see what's the new adventure.
Yeah. And so what's the national record now for France in the women's?
83.
83. And you just did an 81 meter dive? Oh, you're sneaking up
Yes,
on it.
I'm so close.
Very close. So,
And Sophie Jacquin told me I can take it. So
Yeah.
it was really not my plan, but
yeah.
why
So
not?
for all you French freediving fans out there, we may see Elise Medulla sneaking up on the French national record in constant weight throughout the week. It'll be really interesting to watch her progress in the event. A really strong dive to 81 meters today. How'd it feel? Good?
Yeah, it's better and better. As I told you yesterday, it's very strange feeling with the dark and the hot water, but I'm getting better and better every day, and I really appreciate my dive, and it's so cool and good to feel warm
Yep.
at the deep dive. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And so where you dive at home, the water temperature is maybe a little cooler than here in the Bahamas?
Yeah, at the bottom it's around 16.
16, oh,
Yeah.
chilly. I
So
don't know
you
what that
start-
means, but it sounds cold.
It starts at 23,
Okay.
and very quickly
Yeah.
you feel the cold, and it's very. I like it as well,
Yeah.
and I do a preparation in cold water,
Mm-hmm.
like I don't know if you know Iceman.
Oh, Wim Hof.
Yeah, Wim Hof.
Wim Hof,
So
okay.
I can try it in 3 degrees water,
Okay,
and it was very very intense.
yeah. So
Um,
I saw Wim Hof on Vice, you know, the channel Vice, and I had the idea that I was going to fill my bathtub full of ice and do a static performance. And so I managed to do 4 minutes under the ice.
Really?
Yeah, 4 minute breath hold under the ice.
Wow.
Yeah, you should try it sometime. It's actually amazing. Your heart rate goes up through the roof for about the first 40 seconds, but then I think it drops to about like
It's
almost
amazing,
nothing.
yeah.
the,
It's very amazing experience, and I want to know if there is a kind of training in hot water because it's very
Yeah.
strange to feel hot as well.
I know there's been some independent studies done where divers have actually like soaked their hands and feet and face in really cold water before diving in places like the Dean's Blue Hole to start their dive, and so I wonder if that would have any type of advantage to soak your feet in some ice water before you dive. Yeah, cool.
Cool. Yeah. So it's great. Yes.
And so, you know, obviously Bahamas, the principal sponsor for one of the principal sponsors for this year's event. Have you got a chance to do anything else besides dive at the Blue Hole since you've been here?
I don't really understand.
Okay. So, have you done anything else in the Bahamas other than dive at Blue Hole?
No. Ow.
Like explore.
I explore a little bit, but I just arrived a few days ago.
Okay.
So we have a little rest on beautiful amazing place.
Yeah, very beautiful.
Caves and but not too much. I'm gonna do it now because I have 3 days off, so I can have a good rest before my national record.
Okay. Oh, so you're gonna go for it?
I don't know, but I would like to.
I think
I
you
need
should.
to speak with my coach, Remy Dubin, and I'm so disappointed for him today because he loses his air.
Yeah, a little trouble equalizing. I haven't had the chance to talk to him, but I'd assume that was probably why he turned, yeah?
Yeah. I think it's very hard for him because he gave me a lot of advices and he coached me and he do a lot of things. So I think he need to focus about a little bit more about himself. And
Okay.
I'm sure it will be very good feeling for him. I hope. I really hope.
Yeah, so someone I've always liked to study, I love no fins diving, so I always watch Remy's technique. He has tremendous technique in the no fins discipline, and the French are always just such classy divers. It's great to watch you guys perform.
Yeah, he's very good. He had a very good technique, and he gave me a lot of technical advices, and it's very good for me and my dive. I really, it's very different from last year on many years. I feel very strong.
Awesome. Yeah, that's great. It's great to see the camaraderie between the athletes of not only their own country but other countries and just freedivers in general helping each other. And obviously through this broadcast we're being able to interview these athletes and ask them questions and really help the sport of freediving grow. So it's a
yes,
it's a
thank
pleasure.
you, Diveye, because it's really amazing to see each other during the way down and the way up. We can see a lot of details, and it's very good for us.
Yep. Cool. And so before we cut out here for a little bit of a break, anyone you'd like to thank at home or anyone you would like to say hi to back in France?
Oh, I would like to say thank you to my sponsor, Tracy, and Cap Finance, and all my team, French team who is not there, and to my family and my friend. But I will maybe say something a little bit more when I do my national record.
Okay, cool. Well, we look forward to having you back here in the booth. It's always a pleasure to spend time with you and learn about your diving. We'll be back in just a moment to the Origin ECN Freediving Championships from here in the Bahamas. For all you freediving fans out there, hang on. We've got some big dives coming up in the second act of day 2, so stay tuned. You're going to see some huge performances, a couple of national records by Omar Leuci and a Lithuanian athlete in constant weight to 101 meters. So stay tuned. We'll see you soon.
California, otherwise known to you as Madam President of ADA International. Welcome, Carla.
Well, thank you. We're really happy to be here this year, and this is super exciting that we're having this really largest vertical blue we've ever had with this very impressive cast of finest divers in the world really present at this competition.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about what you're seeing from the judge perspective. This morning we had mostly white cards, really beautiful white cards. Yes. I think it's the first time in history that William Trubridge ever dove at 9 a.m.
Yeah, he was first. Yeah, that was really surprising. With a short dive for him, 89 meters in constant no fins. He's the current world record holder in that discipline, and he just wanted to get some of his stress level out, I believe, and get a nice white card, and he did. It was a very easy dive for him, and it was really great to see him. His emotions have lightened exponentially since that dive. I've seen the pressure just come off of him. You know, he's not only the world record holder in that discipline and competing here, but he's the organizer of this competition, which to me is just a huge amount of stress. I don't know how he does it, but today he seems to really lighten the load with having a strong dive.
Yeah, and we saw a wonderful free immersion national record from Saiary Kinoshita of Japan.
Absolutely.
Who is just beautiful to watch in the water.
Oh, she's just so, and her attitude, she's always smiling, she's so strong, and it was really great to see that. I judged her just a few weeks ago at one of our other competitions in Roatan, and she was struggling a little bit, so I was really happy to see her kind of back here at her home in vertical blue and have a really easy, successful dive today and a new national record in free immersion.
And we have a great contingency, as we normally do, from France. The French Mafia is here, and they miss you, Guillaume, and they miss you, Morgan. But Elise, Medulla, Beautiful diver.
Lovely dive. And I haven't seen Elise in a few years. I think the last time I saw her was in Kalamata, and it's great to see her. I don't believe she's ever competed here before in the beautiful Bahamas, and she has her sights set on increasing the constant weight national record for France. She did 81. The record currently, I asked Thibaut, is 83. So her next attempt, she will be trying for that new national record.
Yeah, and I think we were having a little fun this morning when some of our Japanese divers come up. They're very animated and they have high-pitched little voices. And Elise got her card and was like, whee! And then one of the original French Mafia, Remy Dubern, but he, I think, didn't feel it, and so he turned, but then you gave him a red card. Why'd you give him a red card?
Yeah, he was doing constant no fins, which is always, the most physically straining of all of our disciplines, because you're swimming on your own with no help of a fin or the rope or anything else. It's very demanding as far as the physicality of it goes, and he just wasn't feeling it today. So he turned early, and then he decided to pull to save energy, and on top of that he decided to let the safety divers help him as well. So that was actually a double disqualification. It would have been, as far as the rules go, the first thing would have been yellow card for early turn. He would have been penalized for the number of meters that he did not complete on the dive, but then he disqualified himself with pulling, plus the assist by the safety team. So it was yellow card, DQ pull, DQ assist. So that's how we officially would write that down.
So there are a lot of things to pay attention to.
Yes, yeah, but he did a beautiful protocol. His protocol was excellent on the surface, but he had already disqualified himself, and he did that intentionally. He's saving his energy for his next dive.
So if viewers that are watching us via Diveye, thanks to Diveye, we're live around the world, where could they download a copy of the rules so they could see all of these things?
Well, it's on our website, adainternational.org. If you go on our website, you will see a section called Documents, and under there's one for judges, for athletes, and in there we have the current rules, which can be a little bit confusing for those who are not participants in our sport, but they're there for a reason, and they're for safety reasons. The utmost reason is for safety, just to make sure that people don't do things that put them in any kind of a precarious position. But a lot of it is just also technical things to make it more fair, to make it even, and to ensure that we have some sort of a system of assessing the dives.
Cool. So everyone, I just want to remind you, you can follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/verticalblue, and if you're tuned in, you're already there. Hashtag V like vertical, B like blue 2018. We want to give a shout out to Origin ECN, Ada, Sunto, Bahamas. Thank you for being our partners. And oh, by the way, those Paralens cameras, those are pretty cool.
Those are great. We love the Paralens, and we've got all of our safety divers are each wearing one. It's really fabulous. So that's been a huge addition, and we were looking at the footage yesterday to do our analysis of the bottom plate using the Paralens cameras, which they're very useful.
So I'm going to call over a local fellow, Loxley. Come on over and talk to us.
Thank you.
Thank you, Carla. Loxley, say hello to the viewing public.
Hi, how you doing?
So you live here, you've always lived here, and tell me what vertical blue means to you.
Well, vertical blue means a great financial boost to the Long Island community in general, and also to my business as well. It carries forward, over to my business as well.
And who are you always excited to see in terms of the divers?
Oh, of course, the Japanese girls.
And is that just because they're making you delicious food?
Partly.
So if you were to talk to someone who had never been to Long Island before, here in the Bahamas, the beautiful Bahamas, what would you tell them to do, and where would you tell them to go?
Well, Dane's Blue Hole is one of the first and foremost places that people visit on Long Island. I've actually had clients who are vacationing in the Caribbean, and they find themselves flying through Nassau, and they say, hey, you know something? We are only 169 miles away from Dane's Blue Hole. Let's go and see it. Be here. It's the 8th wonder of the world.
What other fun areas are there? I heard there are pigs.
Yes, there is swimming peaks on Long Island now.
And how do folks find those trips?
Well, you can contact me on Facebook or Instagram and book your tour today.
Super. That's Loxley Cartwright, for those of you who don't know. An awesome host and one of our favorite locals, and someone who's been documenting Vertical Blue for many years.
From the start, actually, 2008.
2008. So he's one of the OGs of Vertical Blue, and we're getting ready for session 2. We've got some really big dives coming up in session 2, and then we also have an afternoon session. So I encourage everybody to stay tuned, share the feed, and let everybody know about the amazing feats of superhuman strength that these athletes are performing. I'm going to throw it back to the platform. And actually, before I throw it back to the platform, we want to talk to Marco Cosentino, Chief of Safety. Thank you, Loxley.
Thank you very much.
Hello.
Hi, ciao.
Ciao,
Welcome.
mia amiga.
Mi amiga. So tell us what's going on. You're the Chief of Safety this year?
Yeah, this year I'm the Chief of Safety, an incredible safety team, all professional guys. We know
And girls.
And girls, God, yes. Today we're gonna have 3 girls for the 3rd session in the water together, so girl power. And yesterday has been a very tough day. Today I believe that is gonna be a very nice day with good guys diving, very conservative, so we're not expecting any major events, only good dives and good vibes.
How long have you been coming here to Dean's Blue Hole?
Yeah, my first time here was 2009, and the things, freediving from that time evolved, in a complete different sport. So today we have a lot of guys going very deep. At that time, having 80 meters or 90 meters was the dive of the day. Nowadays, 80 meters is a standard depth. Today
we've got a countryman of yours from Italy, Vincenzo, and yesterday we had Omar Liucci setting a new national record of 116 meters in constant weight. Tell me a little bit about Vincenzo and what you know about his diving.
Honestly speaking, I don't know Vincenzo very well. I know that he's a very strong diver. He's been training the wool here during the winter with Omar and with Alessia. They are very close friends. I think that Vincenzo has 115 in his legs and in his lungs. Good luck, Vincenzo. That's what I want to say.
In bocca al lupo.
In bocca al lupo. Or in culo alla balena, it depends. And also Omar today is going to try 104 in free immersion. It's going to be a national record, so good luck also to Omar.
Okay, good representation from Italy.
Yeah.
Free divers, Italia. Ciao tutti.
Ciao. Enjoy the diving, and
we'll see you in the water.
We'll see you in the water. Bye.
Thank you, Marco.
Ciao.
Thank you again, everybody, for watching. And we're flowing back to the platform. Thanks.
Hello everyone and welcome back to day 2, session 2 of the Origin ECN Vertical Blue Freediving Championships, live here from the Bahamas via Diveye Freediving live broadcast. I'd like to thank our Principal sponsors, Sunto Dive Gauges, Paralens Action Cameras, and of course Origin ECN for bringing us this wonderful event here from the beautiful islands of the Bahamas. We've got our next act about to begin, but just to recap, we've seen some amazing dives already. William Trubridge, 89 meter, constant weight, no fins, successful white card. We had lots of white cards in the first performance this morning, and then we also had one national record white card of Saiary Kinoshita of Japan, two-time vertical blue champion with an 88 meter free immersion dive and a successful white card. So awesome performance by the Japanese athlete. In this afternoon's action, we've got some great performances about to take place, one of which is another national record attempt by the Italian diver Omar Leucci in free immersion, 104 meters. This will be a national record for the Italian men. We also have Gus Krivenis from Lithuania attempting a constant weight dive to 101 meters in an estimated dive time of 3 minutes. This will be a national record attempt for Gus as well. Some other fantastic performances: Michael Board, 100 meters, Hanaka Hirose of Japan attempting 100 meters. Stig Preeds is back to bump the constant weight performance up to 102 meters. He did a nice 100 meter dive yesterday. And then we have the Slovenian athlete Samo Jarenko attempting 106 meters in constant weight. So some huge performances by these athletes in the session, day two's second session. We're looking forward to seeing some successful white card performances and hopefully a few more national records for Lithuania and for the Italian men. I'll be interviewing many of the athletes after their performances. If anyone has any questions that they'd like to address to these athletes, feel free. Send me a direct message here on the platform on Instagram at FreediveHI. Be happy to pose any questions you may have to these wonderful group of athletes. Trying to pick the brains of some of freediving's top athletes over the course of this next week. Figure out some tips and tricks for you divers back home. Give you guys an idea of what they're doing underneath the surface of the water, the Diveye camera following each of these athletes on their descent. We've got just a couple more minutes before we get going here on the second session of day two. We had a great guest commentator in this morning's session, Jessie Liu from China, who attempted a world record in free immersion in 93 meters yesterday. Jessie came up a little bit short, but it was great to see her back in the booth today, looking safe, looking healthy, and ready to hopefully make some more amazing performances in this year's Origin ECN Vertical Blue Freediving Championships. So very exciting in this second session. We've got some fantastic dives about to be made. And although the top of the podium, it's likely Alexei Molchanov and Will Trubridge will be battling it out for this year's title, there's really a lot of action for the final podium spot this year. And while anything could happen, we definitely have some of the top contenders here diving in day two in this second session. Michael Board from Great Britain, Stig Preeds, Omar Leucci, and Samo Jarenko, all potential podium candidates for this year's Vertical Blue Freediving Championships, overall championship. So again, that the overall title is decided by the most points in free immersion, pulling down the rope, constant weight, kicking down, and then also utilizing the fin, and then also no fins diving, which is done without the propulsion of either the rope or without fins. So bare hands, bare feet, clawing their way down to depth with a modified breaststroke and frog kick. We have 5 minutes till our first diver enters the water, which will be Vincenzo Ferri from Italy, attempting constant weight to 115 meters. And that's just shy of the Italian national record set yesterday by Omar Leucci, who will be diving third, attempting to set another national record in free immersion to 104 meters. The Italian diver is looking very, very strong as always. So we can see the judges in yellow, the safety and platform team in white. We have Samo Jurenko from Slovenia getting ready to attempt a constant weight dive to 106 meters. Vincenzo Ferri on the line, ready to attempt a constant weight dive to 115 meters. Vincenzo, another of the very, very strong Italian contingent here at Vertical Blue this year. You can see Vincenzo wearing his headlamp, utilizing little flotation around his neck, keep his head supported above the water so he can relax before his descent. Customary lanyard on his left wrist should signify he's be completing a constant weight dive. The majority of the divers in constant weight will be wearing the lanyard on their wrist. You may see a couple of the divers with the lanyard on their waist during their constant weight performances. However, this is extremely rare. Vincenzo wearing a nose clip as well, allowing him to equalize without the use of his hands and keeping water from flooding his nose both on the ascent and the descent. He has his coach stabilizing the monofin, which he'll be using during today's performance. The monofin has become, in recent years, the chosen weapon for most all athletes doing the deep dives in constant weight. Vincenzo Ferri from Italy, attempting a constant weight dive to 115 meters. It'll be interesting to see if over the course of the week he tries to inch past the very strong Omar Leucci of Italy and attempt to snatch away that recently set constant weight national record for the Italians. Vincenzo's first dive of the competition, demonstrating excellent technique with the monofin, comfortable, controlled, relaxed, arms dropped to the side, and he enters his free fall at 35 meters. Fingers tucked into those bands on the thighs, like we see many of the divers doing, aiding and streamlining during the descent. Many of the Italian athletes not diving today have come out to cheer Vincenzo on. Very supportive group, very grateful to have all of these Italian divers here. Very charismatic.
80 meters.
A great group of support for their countrymen and women.
90 meters.
Vincenzo passing 100 meters.
100 meters.
This is where that headlamp becomes so important. Can Vincenzo comfortably retrieve the tag and return to the surface? It's a very smooth touchdown at 115 meters. Very relaxed, very controlled. Making strong progress to the surface, already at 90 meters. The light's starting to come back in the Dean's Blue Hole.
50 meters.
He'll soon be meeting his safety divers.
40 meters.
You can see alternating leg kicks, saving a little bit of energy in the legs. Vincenzo wearing a Setma Composites fin today.
30 meters.
One of the top manufacturers of both monofins and bifins. As you can see, Jimmy Montananti sporting his Setma Composites Mantra bifins. All of our safety team equipped with Paralens action cameras. Alex St. Jean capturing the action with the camera. And he breaks the surface. Vincenzo taking deep breaths. Oh, and Vincenzo can't hold on. The Italian athlete is out. He's lost consciousness. And that was what we'd consider in freediving a surface blackout. A very minor blackout, a very brief loss of consciousness. Vincenzo will certainly be back to try that depth again later this week in competition. You can see his legs retiring on the way to the surface. Maybe first stage jitters got the best of him. Amazing performance nonetheless. 115-meter attempt by Vincenzo Ferri of Italy. Retrieved the tag, made it to the surface, but just couldn't hold on. And so Vincenzo will be receiving most certainly a red card for that performance. However, the dive looked fantastic in all other aspects, and I'm sure he'll be back to try that performance again later in the week. Next up, we have Samo Jurenko from Slovenia attempting constant weight to 106 meters in an estimated dive time of 2 minutes 50 seconds. And here we can see Vincenzo grabbing the tag at the bottom, making a strong ascent to the surface. So bringing the line up 9 meters for Samojurenko's constant weight attempt to 106 meters. As always, the safety team here at Vertical Blue, very quick to respond. You can see the Italian Omar Leucci from Italy, who set the constant weight national record yesterday in his performance on day one. Omar, no beginner to competition, a veteran diver. Very experienced, coming out of the gate, swinging, setting national records for the Italian men. Fantastic performances already. Looking forward to seeing a strong performance from him in free immersion today and hopefully setting another national record for the Italians. But first up, Samojurenko from Slovenia, constant weight, 106 meters, and an estimated dive time of 2 minutes and 50 seconds. This is a quite quick dive time from the Slovenian. A little bit different strategy than Vincenzo, who's going 9 meters deeper. So speeding up the dive a little bit. And we'll see how that affects Samo. Samo very tall, very lanky. Yesterday appeared to produce the tag and complete what looked to be a successful white card dive and no fins to 78 meters. However, upon review by the judges, the card was then overturned and Samo was discredited. And the reason for that was Samo pulled on the rope outside the candy cane, outside the 2 meter stretch. So Samo, with his length and reach, maybe at a little bit of a disadvantage down there at the bottom. So hopefully on his turn today, he can correct that problem and make sure to keep his hands inside that candy cane on the stripe and make this one a successful performance. Samo, a Mari sponsored diver, company that's been making fantastic freediving products for quite some time, helping Samo to be able to come here to the Bahamas, these beautiful islands, and compete in the Origin ECN Vertical Blue Freediving Championships. I'm sure Samo is very thankful to have the support of Mari's. Not only do they make him his excellent wetsuits, they make a range of dive gear, dive gauges, and other spearfishing related equipment, and recently have become some of the top producers of freediving related equipment as well. And so something that's very interesting about the sport of freediving is in recent times, as the sport has grown in popularity, we're seeing many much newer products and many products that are designed strictly for freediving. So in previous years, it was freedivers would be borrowing equipment from maybe triathletes in the form of wetsuits, or fin swimmers in terms of monofins, or swimmers for nose clips, and all of these different adaptations, and certainly spearfishing equipment. And in recent times, we're getting much more specific freediving equipment. So you see a lot of the athletes here at Vertical Blue, freediving's top competition, utilizing those advances in freediving technology. And as I was talking with Jesse Lou earlier, not only are increases in athletes' physical fitness and capabilities and training taking the sport to new levels, but also increases in technological advantages for freedivers' equipment are playing a huge role in the performances at this year's Vertical Blue Freediving Championships. And you can see Samo has a very long, relaxed stroke, moving very gracefully through the water with the monofin. Just a little pause in our camera feed here. Samo Jurenko passing 40 meters. The Slovenian athlete's been underwater for 1 minute. So strong in this discipline, Samo. Definitely a contender for the overall title, or maybe making the podium, and in subsequent years, maybe taking a run at the title here at Vertical Blue in the men's disciplines. We'll be catching up to Samo shortly as he attempts to complete his dive to 106 meters in constant weight. The Slovenian, amazing athlete. Samo on the ascent, looking good, powerful leg kicks. Utilizing a little bit of a glide phase in between each round of kicks. We see this quite often with Alexei Molchanov. 30 meters, first safety diver. Matching Samo's tempo, tempo's pace. $10 meters. Can Samo do it? The Slovenian about to break the surface. 106 meters. Constant weight attempt. He looks very calm. Looks very relaxed. Delivers an excellent surface protocol. Waiting for the judge's decision. And now will be a white card for the Slovenian. Fantastic dive. So next up, Omar Leucci from Italy, attempting the free immersion record of 104 meters in an estimated dive time of 3 minutes 30 seconds. Just yesterday, Omar Leucci from Italy setting the men's record in constant weight. The Italian diver, one of the strongest athletes in the field. It'll be amazing to see his performances over the week. Can he propel himself to the podium at this year's Origin ECN Vertical Blue Freediving Championships? Omar relaxing at the surface, preparing himself for a 104-meter free immersion descent. Platform staff and safety team all in white. We have the judges in yellow. Spectators looking on. Really amazing to see the locals here in the Bahamas so supportive of the event. Really blessed to have such an amazing local culture here in the Bahamas. Just a beautiful group of islands. It's been fantastic to be able to explore both above and below the water over the couple of weeks that we've been here on Long Island. Not only is Dean's Blue Hole the top freediving destination in the world, the Bahamas has so much to offer in the way of diving. Really just a dream destination for those of you out there looking to explore the diving potential in these islands. Sharks, rays, mantas, dolphins. The fishing's fantastic. Water temps year-round are very, very warm. And then obviously the depth diving here at Dean's is spectacular as well. Certainly the best in the world. Vertical Blue Freediving School. Running classes year-round here on Long Island. Under the tutelage of Will Trubridge and Dean Schausch from Great Britain. Two of the top divers in this year's competition. Certainly both athletes looking to make a strong run for the podium. One minute and 30 seconds until Omar Leucci of Italy attempts to secure his second national record of 104 meters in free immersion for the Italian men. So Omar Leucci, packing his lungs, ready to make his descent in just a moment. We'll be joined by a very special guest, Alessia Zecchini from Italy, Omar's countrywoman. Fantastic diver and definitely a podium contender this year for the Italian women. So Omar makes his descent. We have Alessia Zecchini in the booth here to commentate Omar's fantastic attempt at a national record attempt for Italy. He can do it?
Yeah, sure, he can do it.
Okay. Amazing.
Yeah.
2 days, 2 national records.
Yeah, he can do it because in training he did the same amazing performance, so he can do it for sure.
So he did the same depth in training?
Yeah, he did the same depth, and next days, close days, he's so strong this year, so he can do
Okay,
it.
cool.
40 meters.
So pretty nice watch on Diveye, yeah?
He's so amazing to
Yeah.
watch with Diveye.
Have you seen your dives?
Yeah, for sure, 2 times.
Cool, cool.
Thank you for your comment. He started free fall very late.
Yeah. Where do you start your free fall?
It depends, but 40 meters for free
For free immersion, okay. Omar,
He likes to contact with the rope.
yep. Helping to guide him down, yes?
Yeah.
You, off the line?
I like to have open eyes so I see the line.
You see the line?
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting, a lot of divers like eyes closed.
Yeah, no, I tried, but I like more with open eyes.
Yeah, that's cool. I see you wear fluid goggles too, yeah?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
you can see a little bit.
Very, very beautiful. I can see everything.
So it looks as though Omar will make the depth.
Yeah.
There we go, he grabs the tag. Attaches it to his waist or his hip, the tag?
In the legs.
On the thigh.
Yeah.
And this is the hard part, yeah?
Yes, but he's the best part. So
Yeah.
he's so relaxed. He's so strong.
It's nice knowing once you made the depth, the ascent is almost just, yeah. I always figure at this point, the dive is decided.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah. Once you get there, okay.
Yeah, when you have the tag, you are so happy. So
Yeah.
the adrenaline can help you a lot.
For me, the hardest part, the first 5 meters.
Look, he looks very good.
So maybe from you, national record, world record attempt in free immersion this week?
Can be.
Maybe?
Can be. We will see tomorrow.
Okay, cool. So last time in competition, Sarah Campbell, 3 world records in 1 competition. I think, you know, not too much pressure, but we've had lots of talk that maybe you could try all 3 world records here at Vertical Blue.
I will do my best. I will
Yeah,
see.
that's all you can do.
Yeah. So Omar is 20 meters.
20 meters, we met him with the safeties. He's coming up. Omar looking very strong.
Yeah.
For sure, one of the strongest Italian divers. Diving in Italy, very rich history, yeah?
Yeah, sure. With win chances, they are very, very strong.
Yeah. Lots of history, yeah, the Italian divers?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, amazing.
I on the surface.
And Omar breaks the
It's so
surface,
clean.
takes the goggles off, and I think
So
that's a
bad.
flawless performance from the Italian. Waiting for the card. He says, give him the white card. I say give him the white card. What do you think, Alessia?
Wow, it's an amazing white card.
I think so. All right, another white card, another national record for Omar Leucci of Italy. Absolutely fantastic. The Italian is churning out national record after national record here at Vertical Blue. 2 days in a row, we've seen national record completed by the stunning Italian diver. Fantastic.
Amazing. He's amazing.
Yeah.
I go to coach.
You're going to go to the beach now?
I go to Martin because he has to dive.
Okay.
See you later.
You're diving today?
Today rest.
Just rest. Okay.
Only
Well, we look
coaching.
forward to watching you in the
Tomorrow.
future.
Yeah.
All right. We'll see you tomorrow.
Bye bye.
Bye. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Omar here packing his lungs at the surface. Descending, entering the free fall, something that Omar does very late into the dive. Grabbing the tag at the bottom with perfection, attaching it to his thigh, and then an absolutely flawless surface protocol from the Italian diver. So strong. Making it look easy. Something the Italians are very good at. Such an amazing, rich diving culture and history. We have so many great Italian divers. Many of the safety team here this week are Italian. So much passion for the sport. Next up, Trubridge from Denmark. Constant weight, 102 meters, and a dive time, estimated dive time of 2 minutes 53 seconds. Stig has assured me he will be attempting the national record in this discipline during the Vertical Blue 2018 competition here in the Bahamas. An amazing athlete to watch. Stig is so well-rounded, but he's dedicated himself this year to the discipline of constant weight, and it's going to be a fantastic opportunity to see what this Danish athlete can do. And personally, judging by the confidence that Stig carried into his 100-meter dive yesterday, I see no reason why he's not going to complete this 102-meter dive successfully today.
4 minutes.
Stig, certainly no stranger to competition. He's been diving for 5 years, but he's also been competing for 5 years. Personal best in constant weights, 105 meters. He'll be diving 3 meters shallower on this attempt. Inching closer to a national record for Denmark. One minute until the Danish athlete begins his descent to 102 meters. And shortly here, I'll be rejoined by Jessie Liu, Chinese athlete attempting 93 meters in free immersion yesterday.
Good job, man.
10 seconds.
Awesome.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Official stop. +1, 2, 3, 4.
So Trubridge on his way to 102 meters, inching closer to that national record for Denmark that he's in search of. Stig, one of the most well-rounded divers, however, he's decided to commit himself to constant weight and achieve that national record for Denmark this year at Vertical Blue 2018. What do you think, Jesse? I think Stig, I mean, just based on his confidence in our conversations alone, I think we're going to see a national record for Denmark from Trubridge this week at Vertical Blue.
Yeah, I'm rooting for Stig.
Yeah. Certainly a really nice guy.
So much. You know, I was stressed out before the competition, and he talked with me and shared me his experience from last year at World Championship. I felt it was so valuable.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's.
And so Stig does something interesting where he puts his fingers to his lips to aid with the mouthfill technique. That was something when I first started utilizing mouthfill that I played around with, and I've since dropped the hands to the side. Is that something you have any experience with?
I've seen several athletes doing that. I don't do it.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. I'm not good at doing a big mouthfill.
Okay.
So I never experimented in that.
Yeah. Well, I'm lucky, and that's obviously how I got this position. Is I have a big mouth. Maybe it helps with mouthfill.
I think it's also like a personal preference.
Oh, so Stig turning early. Maybe struggling with the equalization a little bit.
Yeah, it's just on those deep free falls. If you have all the technique, sometimes still on the dive it falls apart.
Yep.
The mental state, the tension that goes in there. And I know Stig can equalize past 100 meters, no problem. And he's really put a lot of effort into figuring that out, training. And sometimes it's just the stress, a little bit stress on the dive.
Yeah, there's definitely a bit of a difference between doing dives in competition and doing dives in training, and it's interesting to watch over the week how it affects different people. And you'd asked me earlier, about my very limited competitive experience, but for me, it's much easier to do the dives in competition. I find that doing personal best depths is easier in competition.
Why do you think is that?
Because I have every reason to chicken out in training. But in
okay, that's a good reason.
But in competition, for me it adds another dimension where I feel much more driven to do the depth in competition.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I started off doing PB dives in competition. I also enjoyed it because I felt safer.
Yes.
I have more sets of eyes on me.
Yes.
I have everything ready if there's something going on wrong. So it's definitely a place for training. I always encourage friends to say, go give it a try. Just treat competition as a training camp, and it's really, really helpful.
Yeah. I think at some point it may change for me. I'm sure it changes. Maybe it's changed for you, where you start doing PBs in your training and outside of competitions. Has that been something that's been the case for you?
I did. I really treat a lot of the competitions as just a training, and also it's kind of my, I'd say, habit to announce PB dives in competitions. Yeah. At least equal to my PB.
Okay.
Where I find it safer to push boundaries and just do the dive that I wanted to do.
Absolutely.
Right?
I would completely agree with you, and I think, for myself, one of the reasons why I really enjoy competition is that these competitions are really catered towards the athletes achieving world records, national records, or just personal best dives. And so when you're in your training, you always have to set the lines up yourself, and you always have to, if you have a boat, operate the boat and do all this extra work, where at Vertical Blue, these athletes can show up, the platform set up, the lines set up. A lot of times they have a coach that helps escort them into the training area, And so the whole process becomes that much easier. And then also, you know, with the safety team that we have, which does just a fantastic job, and the medical team on the platform, it's just a really safe atmosphere to do personal best dives. So yeah, different strategies out there. I know some other athletes like to kind of have that personal best dive in the bag and then maybe stay a little short of that for competition. So there's different ways to play the game for sure.
Yeah. I think Steve will come back with a stronger performance.
I think so. I'm looking forward to seeing a strong performance from Stig. We just saw a really nice performance from Samo Jurenko, who will be joining us here in the booth. Samo from Slovenia, very talented athlete.
Hey, Ben.
Samo, good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you.
Yeah. So yesterday, no fins dived to 78 meters. White card at the surface, and then what happened?
I mean, it was white card on the surface, but
yes.
The red one at the bottom, unfortunately.
Okay.
So there is the rule: you should not grab the rope 2 meters above the bottom plate.
Yes.
In the constant weight and no fins discipline. And I did an honest mistake. I really didn't expect it, but I grabbed maybe a little bit too high. Not maybe, definitely too high.
Samuel, how tall are you?
Yeah, I'm 2 meters tall.
So
I should be. Yeah.
If I try, I couldn't. Like.
I know.
So we were joking around with that in the broadcast that you know they might need to add a 3 meter candy cane for Samo Jurenko because he is a little bit taller than some of the athletes.
I totally agree on that.
But you know today with your constant weight performance, obviously corrected that mistake. One grab inside the candy cane and made a really nice solid dive today.
Yes, today I went very conservative. I expected I'm gonna be a bit tired from yesterday's dive, so I didn't want to push it. I just wanted to do all parts of the dive correct in a good and efficient way, and I hope the bottom camera will show that as well.
It looked good to me so far.
Excellent.
And so yesterday you expressed in your interview that the dive didn't feel that great.
Yesterday?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's usually like this on the first days of the competitions. So a little bit of stress. Also, I'm not used to dive that late in the afternoon.
Yes.
So today was much better. You know, better sensations. The dive felt great, and it was the whole different story. You know.
Yeah.
But looking from the other side, yesterday I pushed it to my personal best and to national record. So it wasn't meant to be an easy dive anyway. So it's nothing to discuss here.
And constant no fins is always going to be a demanding discipline, no matter what.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So a little bit more relaxation with the monofin today, and a little bit of sensations in the dive. It sounds like. Will you be diving in the next couple days, or do you have some days off?
Well, now I have 2 days off. Then I'm diving 2 days, and again 2 days off, and then one day off. So plenty of dives.
So a little bit of time to think about your next performance.
Yeah, I haven't decided yet what I'm going to do.
Absolutely. Yes. And so I see you're wearing a Mari's wetsuit. Is that someone who helps support you?
Yeah, Marius is my sponsor, and I'm super happy with the equipment they provide. The one I use right now, it's super flexible, and it's perfect for these conditions, and it really, gives me a chance to push maximum out from my body, not being kind of tense and on the dives.
So it's really nice, and me and Jesse were talking about it, that in previous times athletes were getting fins from fin swimming, and they were getting nose clips from swimming, and equipment from spearfishing, and triathlete suits, and now we actually have equipment for freedivers. How much do you think that's making a difference in the performances for the athletes?
Well, I think it's just the development of the sport, and this is something we kind of expected when the number of freedivers will increase to that level, that the manufacturers would actually start developing the pure freediving equipment. And what we have now is great, but I'm sure we still haven't reached the I would say the highest level of equipment.
And so we have Gus Krivenis from Lithuania attempting the constant weight national record of 101 meters and an estimated dive time of 3 minutes. So Gus, new to competition as well, a little bit, yeah?
I mean, he's new to competitions, but he's not new to freediving.
Yes.
He spent a lot of time in Egypt.
Yes.
He's very well prepared, and I'm sure this is going to be a very good dive for him.
And obviously a student of Alexei Molchanov, so you know, getting the best information that you can get pretty much out there, yeah?
Yeah, I'm sure it helps a lot, you know, hanging around.
I also heard Gus is a very speedy diver. So I heard he's fast, so let's see.
Well, it'll be interesting to see his technique here. Samo, you have a very wide stroke as well, I'm sure, due to your height. What do you think of Gus's technique on the descent here?
Well, the technique is beautiful. Very nice kick from the hips.
Yep.
Not bending knees too much. His upper part of the body is very straight, parallel to the line, so he's not losing any, you know, he's not wasting energy.
Yeah, efficiency.
He's very efficient, and he's already at 50 meters, so he's
ahead of schedule.
Yeah. Now he'll probably go to the free fall.
Right around 60.
Yeah.
That seems to be sort of something that's changed in recent years, where divers are switching their free fall at a much deeper depth in the constant no fins. I mean, in the fin disciplines and the constant weight disciplines.
Yes, that, I would say before 3-4 years ago, we were all free falling from 25, maybe 30 meters, and the free fall depth was usually the same as the depth where we did the mouthfeel procedure. Yeah, but right now we can see the divers are of course going deeper, and I also noticed that if I do a couple of more kicks after I reach the neutral buoyancy, it doesn't disturb my relaxation.
So Gus
made it to the bottom.
Makes it to the bottom.
Very nice, very good.
Gus Krivenis from Lithuania, attempting constant weight, 101 meters, national record. Can he make it to the surface?
Yeah, I'm sure he's strong, he will make it.
Passing 90 meters. The Diveye camera catching up to Gus, the rocket.
Alright, he put his hands in the streamline position.
Yeah, so he's going to move even quicker now, huh?
Yeah, he still keeps a very nice technique.
And so how much are your legs burning? Like when does that burn start for you?
I feel my legs a bit tired only for the last I would say 20 meters.
Okay.
But it's not like burnout or the failure.
Yeah.
It's just
and so you can see he's kind of doing a little cycle, which is something I noticed Alexei does, where he kicks hard and then kicks off, kicks hard and then kicks off.
Yeah, he's also using the advantage right now of the positive buoyancy.
Yep.
It's not necessary, you know, to keep so strong all the way up.
Yeah.
Especially when the buoyancy is bringing you up.
And so that's where swimming technique really comes into play, yeah?
Yeah, I know he spends a lot of time in St. Petersburg.
Yep.
Okay, he made a dive within 3 minutes.
Oh,
okay, he should do it again.
He still has time to make it. Oh, that's taking long.
Okay, we will see.
So that's going to be very interesting in how that's judged, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, what happened is he did the hand OK sign before he removed his nose clip, so the hand OK sign actually doesn't count. So the cervical protocol starts when he removes his facial equipment. But then the second time he did OK sign, it seemed to me a little long.
So unfortunately, the red card for Gus. It was a very
good dive.
Exactly, very good dive. A small mistake on the surface.
And so this is, you know, that's part of freediving, that you can do almost everything right. You can make the surface, do the surface protocol, but a little out of order, but the dive doesn't count. And so obviously Gus is going to be a little bit disappointed with that. I'm sure he'll be back later on in the week to try that performance again. Obviously looked very strong in all other aspects other than just a little bit of confusion on the surface protocol. Great attempt, national record. Looking forward to seeing Gus back here later on this week. Now we have Michael Board from Great Britain attempting free immersion to 100 meters. Just going to be a little bit longer dive, 3 minutes 20 seconds. Here we can see Gus grabbing the bottom tag, making the turn in excellent time. and then making the surface, going through the surface protocol, but he had already given the okay signal.
Maybe he was narked or a little bit of disorientated.
Yeah.
Because from the hypoxic part of view, he didn't
Seemed
sign
very-
any symptoms of
No
that.
shaking, no
Exactly.
kind of loss of motor control for sure. So Samuel, you do some instruction as well, some freediving instruction?
Yeah, I teach freediving in Slovenia.
Yeah, and so we were talking a little bit earlier about mouthfill technique, and you know, a lot of people out there think that maybe mouthfill is being taught to students too early in their diving career, and that we're seeing a lot of divers who haven't really achieved the correct level of adaptation, diving deeper than their body's physiology is capable of handling. And so I know that's been the case even for some of the athletes in this competition, and they've had to really put a lot of effort into their training to remedy that. From my conversations with other divers, it sounds like you've put together an amazing program to help divers overcome this problem that's commonly called lung squeeze. Maybe you could tell us a little bit about what you're doing with that.
Yeah, I would say I quite agree with you about teaching the mouthfeel maybe a little bit too early, but this is a very delicate topic, because I think most of freedivers are trying to hide the squeeze problems and problems with the barotrauma. And to be honest, I used to have a lot of problems with that in the past.
And so the reason for hiding the squeeze problem would be?
It's something that limits you, you know, and you don't want to show it.
Yes.
If it's equalization, you had to turn early. If it's hypoxia, you black out. But with the squeeze, it's something that you can still push it. You have a little injury, which is definitely not a little injury. It's a big problem, and we have to be careful about it.
Yeah.
So what I do is combination of stretching exercises that I developed to help me to maintain my chest flexibility during the winter.
Yeah.
And the program that I follow when I go to the dive site for a deep diving, where I don't do big jumps, I'm very careful how I progress. And a very important aspect is also the contractions at depth, you know, how much you can relax and how your contractions manifest when you are diving below your residual volume, because any kind of movement that creates a tension in your chest will most likely result in the injury, you know.
Yeah.
And this is something that on this competition actually 5 years ago showed as a biggest threat to freedivers, because it can be fatal, you know?
Absolutely. And so there's been a lot of rules that have been adapted to the sport of freediving, namely in response to that incident that happened with an individual, Nick Magoli, and I think that they're obviously good measures to help protect the athletes. Yeah.
I mean, this is only on the competition.
Yeah.
But freedivers still spend so much time on their own, or with the training partners training, when there is no regulation. So they must be honest to themselves, and I think that it's a huge mistake if you progress even though your lungs are not adapted to the target depths you're chasing. You know, giving your body time to adapt is one of the most important things, and it will eventually make your diving a much more pleasant experience. Not only when you reach the surface, but you know, when you come back home and you see a red mark in your salvia when you spit, it completely destroys your day, your achievement, and it actually is super frustrating for someone to see.
Yeah. And so that's, for the people watching, that's generally the sign that you have some type of lung squeeze, and they can be very mild, where it's the sputum or the spit after a dive is just sort of a like tinged red, or there's a small speck, or it could be actually like a massive sort of barotrauma to your lungs where you have a lot of blood coming out. And really want to stress to the people at home that any type of blood in your spit after any type of diving is not healthy in any way, and so you should be taking you know, preventative and corrective measures to fix that in your diving. And you know, maybe getting instruction with someone like Samo or some of these other top level instructors like Jesse Liu and people that we have here at the event could be a really good idea to help safely progress in the sport. And it's just not something that you really need to experience. I myself have had a little bit of issue with lung squeeze, and it's interesting that you talk about contractions at depth, because I never got lung squeeze from actually deep diving. I get lung squeeze from doing like a 40+ meter dive spearfishing and experiencing strong contractions waiting for fish.
Yeah, but the fact is there are very good ways to avoid it. So.
Exactly, yeah. And so it was the sport of freediving and the education system like what you teach that helped me to be able to make those dives and not get squeezed while doing them, you know. And there's a lot of people out there, spearfishing in particular, that aren't really knowledgeable of that information. So
Mike is about to start his dive.
Yep. Michael Ward, a terrific athlete from Great Britain, attempting 100 meters in free immersion. And so getting back to the spearfishermen, I see a lot of times spearfishermen are hesitant to take a freediving class because they have already achieved some measure of success in their diving, yeah? And I think it's important to understand as divers that there's always so much we can learn, you know? It's amazing to be here for myself and learn from all these top athletes as well. And you know, I like to encourage spearfishermen to not limit themselves in their knowledge. Do you get a lot of spearfishermen in your classes?
I do. I would quite agree with you. The spearfishermen have a little bit different diving philosophy than the freedivers.
Absolutely.
And
rightly so. They're getting different results.
Exactly. Their success is measured in.
But there's a lot of things that kind of interweave too.
We share the same ocean, so
yeah.
The same techniques regarding deep diving, so they can really improve if they join.
Looks like Mike's start of dive was really relaxing and ease.
Yeah.
And he's just settled into the free fall. Looks like he's doing good.
And so Mike, a freediving instructor himself, runs one of the top freediving schools in the world, Gili Freedive in Indonesia. It was actually my first introduction to freediving. I didn't take a class with Mike, but it was the first time I saw freediving schools. And I was one of those spearfishermen that was like, whatever. And then a couple of years later realized that it would really help my performances spearfishing, and that was sort of what got me into the sport. But yeah, Mike always been an inspiration to me, and it really helped a lot in the development of my business as well. So yeah, fantastic diver, a lot of history in the sport. Mike Board attempting a 100-meter free immersion dive. Equalization looks like it's going well. Excellent
awesome.
Turn, grabs the tag.
So Mike did a big dive yesterday, right?
Yeah, he did.
So,
Mike did a nice dive yesterday.
Yeah. Now we need to see that if he's got all the energy recovered enough for this.
Yeah.
100 down, 100 up trip on one breath.
Yep. And so for you, Samo, how much did the most demanding discipline, doing a personal best and no fins? You used to talk about being tired. Did that affect you in any way on your dive today?
I felt a little bit tired.
Yeah.
It's not like physical, but also mental and
gotcha.
A bit exhausted. But yeah, usually one day off really change it.
And so it's interesting. I have a lot of friends at home, and when I do freediving competitions, that they're baffled in that we make one dive per day. They're like, "That's it? You're only making one dive? You're tired from that?" And it's
they
hard
have
to
different mentalities.
Yeah, it's hard to explain to people like the physiological changes that take place during a dive, and how much stress it puts on your body. So it really takes time to recover from that.
But Mike looks very relaxed on his dive.
Yeah.
And I think Mike did a very nice progress over the past couple of months.
Yep.
He's really strong on all his dives I've seen here.
Yep.
So I really hope this one is going to be the same.
Yeah, he looks good right now.
I feel like
can tell
Mike really deserves a white card.
Yeah, you can tell he's feeling it though in these last couple of pulls. These free immersion dives really test the breath hold. But it looks as though he's right on time. Maybe 1 second behind time, 3:21. So takes a couple breaths. Yep, that looks like a white card.
Very nice.
Great dive by Mike Board.
No doubt here.
Yeah, and Mike's certainly one of the fittest athletes in the field. Yeah, he's
yeah,
excellent
exactly.
physical condition. So it'd be interesting to see how much diving on consecutive days affects a guy of his physical stature.
Very nice performance from Mike.
Yeah, great performance by Mike. Such a strong athlete. Next up, Hanaka Hirose from Japan. Constant weight, 100 meters. It's going to be a big performance from the Japanese athlete.
She was also diving yesterday, right?
Yep. And then we see Mike with an excellent turn here. Yeah, she dove yesterday as well. and then he makes the surface. Takes a couple of seconds to recover, and then gives the okay signal.
Yeah, absolutely no doubt here.
And so, Samo, during your different performances, where do you wear your lanyard?
I always wear it on my on my belt.
Okay.
I don't change it. This is the way I can completely relax my legs and my arms. So I got used to it, and it's how I like it.
Yeah. Yep. That makes a lot of sense. So, what Samo's saying is that for constant weight, free immersion, and no fins, he wears a belt lanyard, which is the only lanyard that can really be worn for all three disciplines. We have had athletes that wear a wrist lanyard for all three disciplines, but that's a very unusual thing to do. I would say the majority of athletes change their lanyard setup in some way for each of the different disciplines, unless they're utilizing a belt lanyard like Samo, then they can use it for all three. Jesse, what do you do for your lanyard setup?
I go between my wrist and my leg. So
Okay.
ankle for my free immersion and my wrist for constant weight.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then you obviously wear a belt lanyard for no fins.
Oh yes, so I actually go three ways.
Three ways.
I wear belts
Very
for
versatile,
my
Jesse Lou from
fin
China.
dive.
Yeah. So that's really common for most divers, is to wear the ankle lanyard for free immersion, the belt lanyard for constant weight, no fins, and then the wrist lanyard for your constant weight dives. Do you change the weight of the lanyard at all when you do the different dives?
No, for me it's always the same
for you, Samo.
the same lanyard. And
I know some people like to have a heavier lanyard when they do like a constant weight versus the lighter carabiner when they do no fins, or maybe free immersion so that the lanyard stays above them on the descent.
I know that some divers do that, but from my point of view, the most important is that your lanyard is not getting entangled on the rope.
Yeah, absolutely.
So this is the most important feature, I think.
And what lanyard are you utilizing? Are you utilizing a brand of lanyard, or did you make your own?
I combine Mares lanyard and To Be Free lanyard from
cool.
Alexander Bobenchikov.
Yeah, and the To Be Free lanyard, in my experience, is sort of the best belt lanyard you can get. Yeah, like the belt itself, I think is very nice. Very low profile.
Exactly, lightweight, very little drag, and I think for top performance, it's kind of the best. Yeah.
And are you wearing the lanyard outside or inside of the wetsuit?
Outside.
Okay, yeah.
Put it below.
So some people like Dean Schausch and William Trubridge, they wear the lanyard actually inside the wetsuit, feeling that it gives them a little bit more ability to streamline during their dives. And we can see Hanaka Hirose from Japan wearing the wrist lanyard. She's going to be attempting a constant weight dive to 100 meters and an estimated dive time of 3 minutes and 20 seconds. So have you had the opportunity to get out and explore anything outside the Blue Hole here in the Bahamas?
Every year when I arrive here, I do some hiking and some discovering some different places on the island. But to be honest, the island it's not small. It's a long island.
Yeah.
But things are repeating. Like there are beautiful beaches, sandy beaches, and there are many blue holes.
So this is not the only blue hole, ladies and gentlemen. I've actually discovered that there are multiple blue holes on Long Island. They're not all 200 meters deep, but this is not the only one. So I was actually, I didn't realize that until just yesterday.
Yeah, I went on a trip a couple of days ago with Loxley, and we went around, I don't know, 2 or 3 different blue holes.
Yeah.
Some of them are shallow, some of them are deeper. The very interesting thing is they are mostly full of fish.
Yeah.
You can find groupers, snappers. There are.
Here we have kite surfing.
Yeah.
Next to our competition platform.
Right outside the competition. So it's amazing here at the Blue Hole that we're in an amphitheater that's protected on almost 270 degrees and then separated by a shallow sandbar. So the diving conditions themselves are almost wind-free. I mean, you hardly experience any wind in the Blue Hole. However, outside the Blue Hole, you can experience these amazing activities like kiteboarding and surfing, which are also really amazing things to do here in the Bahamas. Loxley, one of the local guides here in the Bahamas, can give you some terrific advice on where to go and what to do. And take you to these other blue holes that have obviously tons of fish in them, quite a bit of marine life.
Yeah, and they are also wonderful for underwater photography. I also like it a lot. I think it's my I would say the most, I mean, my favorite thing to do underwater is to take pictures, to play around, and to capture different moments.
So Hanaka Hirose from Japan, packing her lungs on her way to a 100-meter constant weight descent. So Hanako is one of 4 women to have made the 100-meter descent, I believe, in competition.
Yeah, she did it last year.
Mm-hmm.
She did 103 meters.
Yeah.
And I think for a couple of minutes it was also world record.
Yeah.
Then Alicia did 104.
Yeah.
But I know Hanako from, I think first time we met was 2009 in the Pool World Championship in Aarhus in Denmark, and she was already back then a very, very strong pool diver. And as far as I can see, she has focused for the last couple of years on deep diving, and she's doing really, really great. She progressed slowly. She, as far as I know, she never experienced any kind of troubles or blackouts or something. So she's very, very careful and still doing very, very strong dives.
Jesse, was that your first blackout yesterday?
That was my second. Actually, coincidentally, the first one was also here at Vertical Blue. That was in 2016.
Okay. And was that a surface blackout or an underwater?
Yeah, it was a surface blackout from a no-fin dive.
On a no-fin dive, okay. Yeah, so free diving, you know, obviously, how deep can you go until you can either run out of air to equalize or potentially black out? It sounds kind of like an outrageous sport in that capacity, but it's also, as we saw in Jesse's case yesterday, very safe under the watchful eye of our terrific safety staff here at Vertical Blue. Hanako, a wonderful athlete, very safe in her performances and made very great progress very slowly, which has allowed her to achieve these depths without ever having blacked out or had any type of barotrauma to her lungs, which is ideally what we're looking for as athletes. Okay, so a little bit of trouble looking for the tag, but she makes the turn, and fantastic technique always from Hanako on the ascent.
What do you think about her technique that she had a hand on her mouth all the way down to the bottom?
I don't think it's necessary to keep one finger on your mouth all the way down to the bottom. Some divers do it at the point when they do the mouth fill to be able to create more pressure in their mouth and to store more air for equalization. But then after 10 or 20 meters, I think it's not necessary anymore. We could see that also her free fall was going a little bit sideways. Maybe, for sure it doesn't disturb her, because otherwise we would see some we would see that. But
I think maybe athletes may prefer to settle into some position and just totally relax into it and without.
Yep. So we see the first safety diver here at 30 meters, meeting Hanako.
Hanako looks very relaxed, focused. We can see how the technique is changing for the last 20 meters.
Knees are bending.
Yeah, the knee starts to bend.
And this is what you talked about inside 20 meters, where you start to feel a bit of the burn. And obviously, the female athletes, I would imagine, feel this a little bit more strongly due to the, just their stature. She's a very petite woman, so a little bit of a disadvantage compared to the men. However, she takes her deep breaths.
Yeah,
she removes her nose clip. She looks very good. So will she get the white card? Hanaka Hirose from Japan, 100 meters with the tag.
Yeah, white card.
White card.
Very nice. Very nice, strong performance.
Well, cool, Samuel. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much.
We'll let you get on with your day, get some rest on the next 2 days, and we look forward to seeing some more great performances for you. Congratulations on, hopefully you'll be back to do that national record, yeah?
Yes, thank you very much.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks for being here. So Hanako packing her lungs. Grabbing the bottom tag. All right, so Martin Zajac up next. Free immersion dive to 95 meters. This will be our last performance of Act 2 on day 2. And then we'll take a quick camera break and we'll be back for the third round of performances this afternoon, starting at 12:40. So in just a moment, I'll be joined by Alex Davis of Barbados. He did a nice dive in constant weight yesterday.
Free immersion.
Free immersion.
You got a lot to remember. Thank you, Jesse. Try not to get way everywhere.
So Martin Zajac from Slovakia, attempting free immersion to 95 meters in an estimated dive time of 3 minutes and 20 seconds. So welcoming Alex Davis to the broadcast booth.
Morning, morning.
Alex, as we just discussed, had a nice dive in free immersion yesterday. What depth did you go to, Alex?
81.
81 meters, so yeah, fantastic dive by Alex. Still one of the only competitors here wearing a mask. Avid spear fisherman and spearfishing guide back in Barbados. Sponsored by Synergist Capital.
Thank you, Brian.
Yeah. And so, have you had a chance to dive with Martin at all?
With Martin? Not as yet. I've seen him in training a couple of times.
Okay.
Of course, him and Alessia work very closely together. And yeah, he looks like a very strong athlete. He's been in the business a long, long time.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken, I don't want to speak too soon, but I know he deals with Apnea Man a lot. I see it all over his monofin and everything.
Yeah.
I use the buoys for teaching, the Apnea Man buoys.
Good buoys.
Fantastic. Yeah, fantastic buoys.
Yeah.
Easy company to work with.
Yeah.
Even shipping over to Barbados is not too bad either. So.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Seeing all these really nice technological innovations that are actually designed for freedivers as opposed to spear fishermen or triathletes, and we're actually getting our own equipment here now that the sport's growing, and I think a lot of that's in large part to Diveye, broadcasting the performances of each individual athlete.
It's making it a lot more accessible for everyone to watch.
Yeah.
For example, friends and family back home last year got to see a few of my dives that were live streamed from a mobile phone. But with the Diveye now, anyone anywhere in the world can watch the whole thing and even join you at the bottom. I think that's a lot of it. People always ask me lots of questions. Oh, what's it like down deep? I mean, I'm not the deepest guy, but they always ask, what's it like down there? Now they can actually see for themselves.
Yeah.
Oh, it's dark. There's nothing.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's great. It's fantastic. I think for the sport, it really is now making it a true spectator sport, which is kind of what we've been needing. I think to sort of bring it to the next level.
Yeah, for sure. And so obviously lots of people back in Barbados watching you. Lots of viewers from around the world. Watching all these different athletes, rooting for them in their different countries, and then we have the athletes from here in the Bahamas, the fans from here in the Bahamas that are really, really supportive of the event as well. So it's amazing to see so much support, growing support for the sport of freediving.
I think the Diveye is a fantastic tool as well, even for experienced athletes.
Yeah.
It's a two-prong approach. You can view your own dive and you can analyze yourself and look at things you're doing that you might not be aware you're doing.
Yeah,
conversely,
absolutely.
you can look at some of your peers and you can look at their technique and what depth are they free falling at, where are they kicking to, and give you kind of tips and ideas of things you can implement in your own training. So I think it really is, as I say, the next step, and I think it's going to elevate the game for everyone.
Yeah. So certainly a super strong field here in the Bahamas for Vertical Blue 2018. Like you said, you know, not the deepest diver in the event, but certainly a very strong performer, setting lots of national records for Barbados. I mean, it's got to be great for you to be able to sort of see the technique that it's being used by, you know, being a student of the game, so to speak.
Yeah, exactly. I think both from instructor perspective and individual perspective, it's a fantastic tool. But here we go, Marlin, starting his descent.
And he's doing a free immersion dive to 95 meters. Yeah, so it's great to have Alex in the booth. Look forward to some more great dives from him this week. And
make way for the fantastic Italian here.
Yeah, we're going to get Omar Leucci from Italy, who's already completed 2 amazing dives this week.
My pleasure, man.
Constant weight national record in Italy, and also a free immersion national record this afternoon as well. So we have Martin Zajac descending to 95 meters. This is a great performance from the Slovakian, from the Czech Republican.
Yes, Martin Zajac did a great diving free immersion in training. Last training, 91. I mean. Yeah. So now he tried 95, but I think that it's easy for Martin. We're gonna see.
Yeah, we'll see for sure. So how'd your dive feel today?
Really good.
Yeah.
I'm really in good shape. I'm fit and proper. So yesterday I set the national record in constant weight.
Constant weight.
And today in free immersion.
Yep. And now what's next?
Now there is the no fins.
Yeah.
No, tomorrow I rest.
So where's the constant weight no fins record for Italy right now?
Now is 76.
76.
Yes.
Is that your record?
Yes.
So you're going to break your own record?
Maybe. We have to see.
All right.
Now the Freemason was mine, 100 meters, and I set a 4 meter more. The constant weight was Davide Carrera.
Yep.
So we're gonna see. Touchdown for Martin. Yeah. Okay.
And so we saw Vincenzo Ferri very close.
Yes.
To what would be a national record. So another tremendous Italian athlete up there. Obviously didn't make the dive clean today, but I'm sure we'll see him back to try a similar depth.
For sure. Yeah. Because 115 meters only a couple of days before was a national record. So But I told with him and he said to me that he got some problems on the blade with the tag.
Yeah,
so
we saw that.
He lost some seconds, and so probably that's why he paid at the surface.
Yeah.
But he's strong, and I'm sure that he would be trying the depth of national record.
Yeah. So he's on his way back up, 50 meters. This is the arm's starting to get a little tired. You know, maybe in the next few meters here.
Yeah. Now there is a really important moment of the diving, because around 30 meters on the way back the body starts to feel really, you know, when you lose energy.
Yeah. Starting to get a little bit tired. So do you do any work outside of the ocean or the pool to help maintain your physical fitness and strength?
Yeah, for sure. I do a lot of physical training.
Yeah.
But, I need a training tip, the Cayman.
Oh, okay.
I settle it down.
Yeah.
Because normally I train in the city. I live during the winter time in Milan. Oh, now it's really clean.
Yep. Removes the fluid goggles.
Stronger. Oh, it seems to be okay. You turn around to looking for the
judges. So how much can the judges help you by getting into your vision? Can they help you a little bit?
Yeah.
Or do they have to stay put?
No, because you have to see the platform.
Yeah.
When you are coming up, and then stay on that way, and just to do the protocol. But you have to do it when you are still in the water.
Yeah.
Because when you come up with the goggles, normally this kind of goggles the Martin wear, not allowed you to see outside the water, but only inside.
Inside, yes.
So it's hard if you don't look where the judges are when you are in the water. It's really difficult
And are you wearing the fluid goggles? I believe you wear the fluid goggles. Yes.
I wear the fluid goggles, but I wear the fluid goggles with lenses inside the goggles, so I got liquid fluid inside the goggle. This kind of lenses settle on the lens of the goggle, and so only in the water you can see.
Okay.
But I love to see my watch, timing of my training dives, so I love to see in the water but outside as well.
Yeah.
So both.
And so you never go with the no mask approach?
Yes, no mask only for when I do classes with my pupils, only when I spare fishing. But the mask, I introduced the fluid goggles in 2009.
Okay,
so
long time
it's
then.
10 years that I've been using fluid goggles for.
And so, which fluid goggles are you using? Because I know they're kind of hard to come by.
I do it. I make it in Italy.
You make your own?
Yeah. I make
so
on my own.
So can people contact you for fluid goggles?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. How do they get a hold of you?
Yeah.
How do they get in touch?
On Facebook.
Facebook. So if you guys out there are looking for a quality pair of fluid goggles that work, obviously setting some of the greatest performances in the sport of freediving, you can email or get in touch with Omar Leucci on Facebook, and he can help provide you with some of the sport's top fluid goggles. So it's something I'll probably be picking up after this event and give him a try.
Yes, only providing me the distance of the pupils.
Yes.
Because with that distance I can settle the own for each one, the right fluid goggles, because the most important thing is to have the lenses inside the goggles fixed at the right distance
from the eyes.
From the eyes.
And so each pair of goggles that Omar makes are custom made to you. So he's going to need a little bit of specification in the distance between each one of your pupils so that he can make the goggles correctly. But yeah, custom fluid goggles from one of the sport's greatest competitors is fantastic. And so a little bit, he's not here with us, but you mentioned the name Davide Carrera. Obviously one of the strongest performers in the sport of freediving. I mean, breaking his records is really a huge feat, yeah?
Yeah, me and Davide, years that we are settling the record, one time me, one time he.
Yes.
So it's great, but in the last, the last time that I settled the constant record in constant weight was in 2016 here in Vertical Blue.
Yes.
After a month in Honduras, he settled 1 meter more. I did 105, and he settled 107. Then after 3-4 months, he settled 111.
Yes.
And last year he set the last record 114.
Yes.
And so after 1 year I succeeded in we take back the record, but it was hard.
Yeah.
Because in one only year I had to reach 10 meters. That in freediving is a really
big jump.
Yeah, big jump. So I'm really proud of my training, of what I did, because I'm conscious that it's a great jump.
Yeah, so, and rightly so. I mean, just the performances to me, it looked like the two strongest performances of the entire event. Your surface protocol was absolutely excellent. You know, it was really awesome to see. Just such great protocol at the surface, such clean dives.
Yeah, but in fact, I did even today a really strong protocol. So I mean that even in free immersion I can push a little bit.
Yeah.
But I didn't have so much time to train in this time.
Yep.
Because I focus my attention on the constant weight.
Yeah.
And I leave some training for free immersion. But you know, manage 3 disciplines such so different. It's quite hard.
Yeah.
So this is what is the charm of Vertical Blue, because manage 3 different disciplines and dive deep in each is really hard.
And so you're certainly, we obviously have Will and Alexi sort of the, you know, kind of premier athletes in the sport doing huge depths. But you know, there's 3 spots on the podium.
Yeah.
And like you're talking about, you know, you need to be a well-rounded diver, and you're certainly one of those divers that has a really strong podium potential here at Vertical Blue this year.
Yes, I hope, and I'm here for this. I work really hard, knowing that the first 2 places I take it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the other athletes.
Well, not necessarily. You know, everybody seems to think that 1 and 2 is cut and dry. It's going to be Will or Alexi, but you never know. I've been a fan of all types of sporting disciplines, and I'm always rooting for the underdog. And there's anything could happen in the sport, so you never know what could happen. But certainly, yeah, very strong contenders for the 1 and 2 spot. But that 3rd place spot, you know, like you said, to be as well-rounded as you need to be able to get on the podium at Vertical Blue, I mean, that's just an extraordinary accomplishment. A lot of these athletes, one performance or another, but Omar Leucci from Italy, already 2 national records in the bag. Hopefully, maybe he's going to bump up his free or no fins performance and set another one, break his own record. But we're looking forward to see if he can jump up on the podium this year at Vertical Blue.
Alexei.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Omar.
Ciao,
Fantastic
ciao, ciao.
diving already, and
Thank
we look
you.
forward to more from you during this week's performances.
Congrats.
Thank you. Guys.
So another great session here at Vertical Blue. We had some amazing dives in the 2nd session. We're going to take a little bit of a camera break, and we'll be back at 12:40 with Simon Bennett from Chile attempting constant weight to 72 meters.